Hey, Prime members, you can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Download the app today.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Hello, and welcome to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us this week, again, on another crazy edition of Crime and Sports.
Yeah.
Obviously, we hope you listened last week. R.I.P. Uru. Very, very.
And the Coyotes just traded for a guy named the Russian Bear.
God,
it's
yeah.
Unbelievable.
If you didn't listen last week because you never heard of the guy or you don't care about hockey, holy shit, did you miss an episode?
Blew it.
You really blew it. It's a classic, so go back and check that out. But for everybody else, thank you for everything you've done for us this week, especially your reviews, those Apple Podcast reviews, that purple icon. We don't know why they help, but they help drive you up the charts. So please, if you haven't done it yet, get on that. 5 stars, say something, doesn't matter what you say. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com right now, because that does matter, because right now you can get your tickets to the virtual live show.
Yeah.
It is on May the 6th, and it will be available for 72 hours after that, so you can watch it over the weekend, whatever you want to do. Check that out. I'm telling you, it's going to be awesome.
I can't wait.
Right now, I just know we have our own, we made a special dedicated studio.
It's all for you.
For this. It's going to be, we're really putting a lot into it, so we really hope you enjoy it, and we think you're going to do that. Shutupandgivememurder.com right now. You can also get tickets to all the live shows that are coming up. We have live Crime and Sports at the Tempe Improv. When is the date on that?
November 19th.
November 19th. Live Crime and Sports. We're doing Crime and Sports and Small Town Murder on the same night, back to back on a Friday night at the Tempe Improv.
Oh, we're so lucky.
We're jacked for that.
Thank
come
you,
out.
Matt.
Yes, come out, see both shows, and do that and sell out Crime and Sport. Don't let the Small Town Murder people make you look bad.
Yeah.
Don't do it, please, because then they go, oh yeah, the crime, they don't care, and then don't do it. Don't let them make you. Don't let them punk you.
Yeah,
do it. Get your tickets for that right now, and then Patreon. My goodness, Patreon.com/Crime and Sports. The bonus episodes are amazing. If you missed last week's, you need to subscribe so you can go back and listen to those. We did kind of our favorite and least favorite sports movies. Was one of our episodes, which was we've been wanting to do that for a long time.
Just so many sports movies. It's fun to talk about them all.
We really talked about the ones we hated much more than the ones we loved, so check those out while we make fun of bad old movies. And on top of that, the other bonus episode we did was Jail and Prison Reviews.
Fantastic.
Which was absolutely hilarious. People in jail, working in jail, visiting jail, living near the jail.
Living near it.
You name it, they were talking about it, and no one really likes it that much. A lot of funny
Surprise!
shit.
Jail sucks.
And it's so funny how different a lot of the reviews are. It's hilarious.
There's a lot of different ways to hate jail.
It's true. Yeah. Go back, listen to those, and you can hear the whole back catalog if you subscribe at patreon.com/Crime and Sports, and that'll make you a producer.
Yeah, it will.
Which will make you have your name read off by Jimmie at the end of the show, probably incorrectly.
Correct.
But he'll try as hard as he can. He will try. So do that. Patreon.com/Crime and Sports. And if you just want to be a good person with good karma and get your name mispronounced and be a producer of the show, who we love and admire so much, you can do that over at PayPal as well, using our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com. That said, let's do this.
All right.
We got lots of show here. This is a guy who is an absolute mess since the second he set foot in the league, so it's going to be awesome stuff. Let us talk about Keith McCants.
Yeah.
Do you remember Keith McCants?
I remember the name.
Yes, if you were like a kid in 1990 during that draft. That was a big draft, that 90 draft.
Really?
And tons, for some reason, like that's when like every person who had access to card stock on the earth made football cards in 1990. Pro Set and Score, and this one and that one. And I just remember a million Keith McCants cards in those.
They were betting hard on him.
Yeah, and those creamsicle Bucks uniforms.
The thing about your card being plentiful, it's worth shit.
That's the thing. Yeah, there's just so many of them.
It's worth nothing.
Well, his is, if he was a decent player, maybe it'd be worth something, but it didn't quite work out like that. Let's talk about Alvin Keith McCants. Alvin. His family calls him Alvin, but in football, it's always Keith.
Okay.
That's interesting. Date of birth, and this, I swear to Christ, was not planned.
Yeah.
When I was putting this together yesterday, I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Date of birth, April 19th, 1968.
Happy birthday,
Happy
sir.
birthday, and sorry. I don't know.
I'm not.
Sorry it didn't work out for you. Let's put it that way.
I'm sorry for.
There you go. April 19th, 1968. And if you're listening to this down the road, we're recording this on April 19th.
On his birthday.
2021. So a couple of things I need to point out that gave a lot of good information. One's a really good article in the Tampa Tribune by a guy named Joey Johnston. And people for years used this article for information, referenced him. So this was like kind of he really got in there.
Joey got the Bucks beat, huh?
Joey got it in there, yeah. And then also a book called The Dark Side of the NFL by Keith McCants.
Oh, he wrote his
own book.
I'm a piece of garbage. Here's my story.
Here it is. And it's... Okay, here's the thing about Keith McCants. I don't know what it is, but doing the research, maybe I'll change my mind over the course of the show as we go on, but doing the research, something about him, I just kind of like the guy.
Yeah.
I kind of feel, some guys I feel for.
Yeah.
I don't like the way they got done, kind of. I don't like the way they were treated by a league, or you know what I mean?
Sure.
So it's like, I just get that. When I get guys who only hurt themselves, and you're like, I don't really, whatever. But good God, let's let Keith open it up.
Terrific.
With his own words here. We won't do it in their own words till later, but this is right in the beginning of his book. Okay. This is like the preface here. Quote, if I had to describe myself in 2 words, it would have to been atomic bomb. Oh boy. I had all the motivation I needed to wreak havoc on the football field by the time I was the ripe old age of 8. Luckily for me, I found a way to channel my anger and frustration without killing someone. Well, you know what? Good.
Yeah.
I mean, we could be doing a different episode.
Sure.
Snap a football and I might snap your neck. If you were standing on the other side of the line, I didn't run to you, I ran through you. Football was therapy.
Yeah.
So we haven't heard that a lot.
No.
We've heard football's an escape from my shit life or my bad family.
Therapy.
This is therapy, and we find out why. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ. Now, he grows up in downtown, northwest of downtown Mobile, Alabama. He's from down there. He's from the Orange Grove Housing Project.
Hell yeah.
So not a lot of money growing up with Keith. Pretty poor. And it was once the largest housing project in the state of Alabama at one point.
Really?
Yeah,
Mobile.
In Mobile, and it's known for being a rough place at this point. He's the youngest of 5 children, like Richard Ramirez, but better probably.
Mom gave up at this point.
Well, yeah, and his mom was pretty good actually, from what he says. He loved his mom, and his mom was there, and everything like that. His dad not so great.
Okay.
So he says. He talks about, like, around 1976, he talks about in his book and being, hot, basically. He says he remembers fighting with his brothers and sisters for the spot closest to the air conditioner. They had a window unit in their place. And he said it was mounted to the wall in the living room. And he said it felt great, but you had to get close enough to it when 5 kids are all blocking each other out for a spot.
2 bodies blocks all that air in the first place. You get a third and then a fourth. Forget it.
Now it's hotter in there than it was before. And they said too, it was they were lucky to. He said I was lucky to have an air conditioner. Sure. He said it was really a big deal there. Yeah. Like people were like, oh shit, you got an air conditioner.
Look at you.
And in Mobile. Air conditioning is
it's a must.
Really necessary. It's hot and it's humid down there. He said that it was hard to sleep at night because it was so hot, and especially during the summer. He said his mom would soak washcloths in water and then put them in the freezer, freeze them up, and then lay them across the backs of their necks so they could go to sleep. Basically, because that cools your whole body off.
Yeah,
I've had that done before. That's
you got your nappy cloth in the freezer.
That's some poor kid's air conditioning.
Fuck.
And then later on, what sucks is like a little while later, like your pillow's all wet and you're laying in a wet spot in the pillow.
You got to lay on your stomach.
But it's cool.
And hopefully that thing doesn't fall off.
That's or pin it to the pillow with your head.
Oh God.
He said it was his mom's idea, and she did this. That's the best she could do to take care of him, and she always did the best she could.
Sure.
He said that a lot of times the mom would say, "Get out!" Basically, everybody go outside. The kids go play, go do your thing outside. Which used to be able in the 70s. That was just just get out and come back later,
right?
And whatever. And they didn't expect you to be murdered.
Don't be here right now. That's what I need.
Pulled into a van or some shit. So yeah, he got chased out. He said he'd go to his friend's house and that sort of shit. Mm-hmm. He said that there was a big open field that all the kids would go hang out on and play in. And he said, though, it was hot.
Yeah.
He describes in his book, every other sentence in his book talks about how hot it was when he was a kid. It was just hot.
It seemed like, the sun never went down and it was just always hot.
Yeah. It's like that. There's a, I think it's in Raekwon's album for Wu-Tang. There's this thing and they're talking. It's like, it's hot. Like, he's like, it's hot at night and shit. And like the sun, he goes, the sun ain't even out and it's hot. Like, I feel like that's what kind of hot we're talking about.
That's Phoenix shit, man.
That's some Phoenix shit. We're
standing on a patio at midnight and you're just sweating your balls off trying to get a cigarette in you.
Well, because the heat's coming from the ground, not the fucking...
It's coming from all angles because you got these tall fucking buildings that are radiating heat at you. The concrete's hot as shit.
The concrete walls around your backyard are hot. Everything's reflecting heat. Yeah, it's bad stuff. Now, his mom's name is Cinderella. Mm-hmm. Which he says, his mom's name is Cinderella McCants.
Oh my God.
Literally. Yeah. She said he calls her a saint, basically, the way he talks about it. She said that he just loves his mom, calls himself a mama's boy, and says people made fun of him for it.
Yeah.
He didn't give a shit. He liked to hang out with his mom.
She's Cinderella,
She's Cinderella.
Right.
He'd hang out with her while she was cooking breakfast and shit like that.
Yeah.
And she also worked 3 jobs.
Jesus.
So that's a lot. Yeah. So he's got a lot of respect for his mom for hustling to keep the family together.
For really doing it.
5 kids and 3 jobs, and that's a lot of work. That's 8 things you got to worry about. Most people, 1 or 2 of those is a lot. She's got 8 things to worry about. Now his dad, he said his dad would kind of take off, basically. He said that his dad managed the way he puts it, he goes, my dad wasn't Harry Houdini, but he managed to disappear out of my life before I knew him. He said he packed up his clothes and left all the kids behind and didn't give a shit.
McCants is funny.
He is. He's pretty funny, this guy, sometimes. He said that his dad's name is Herbert Kaiser. And I don't know, he took his mom's name. Yeah. All the kids do. He said he spent very little time in the same room with his father in his whole life. He talks about one time in high school, he met with him at one of the houses he owned, because it turns out his dad ends up being like kind of a successful businessman.
Well, what the fuck?
And owns a bunch of property.
Yeah.
He'll come back later, but doesn't do anything to support his children.
What the hell, man?
Yeah, that's why he's kind of pissed off at his dad, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
He said that, he hadn't seen him in over 10 years, and he saw him the one time there. And he said that his mother was great, and he said he also had a stepfather who cared for all 5 kids like they were his own.
That's awesome.
And was a good dude, too. So he says, as hard as it was, he goes, man, his mom and his stepdad did their best, and he was thankful for them. He talks about some funny shit when he was a kid here. He talks about something he calls a fruit raid.
Oh.
Which can only happen if you're in a place where there's a lot of fruit growing on trees that's easily accessible.
Yeah.
He said that, this is funny, quote, the key to a successful fruit tree raid was to wear a belt.
So you can tuck all of it in your pants?
Yeah, he said that way you could cinch it up tight enough so you would hold the apples and pears that you plucked from the trees. Once they were pulled from the branch, they had to be dropped down the front of your shirt.
Yeah.
So he would use his shirt as a thing.
And you tuck it all into your pants?
Yep. He said, I'm not trying to say what we did was right, but there was more fruit lying on the grass rotting than we could ever slide down the fronts of our shirts.
Yeah.
We figured if the people who lived there really cared, they wouldn't have let all that fruit hit the ground in the first place.
He's got a point.
Fair, right?
Yeah.
He said, it's kids' logic, but still. And he said by late August, the fruit trees had ripe apples, pears, plums.
Awesome.
Yeah, he said he loved it all, and he loved to eat fruit, but fresh fruit, as everybody knows, is really fucking expensive.
Yeah.
It is. And if you lived in the projects, he said, Mom didn't get a chance to buy fruit very often.
Right.
Fresh fruit, especially for 5 kids.
Yeah.
So this was like a chance to eat.
This is awesome.
Fruit. Yeah, he loved it. And it's true, too. That's tough. That's a big deal. Like, it's expensive to be healthy.
It is.
It really is.
It's crazy how cheap it is to be a fucking disgusting piece of shit.
When you look at like the difference in price between like how much food you get for like fast food where you can get 3 burgers for $5 or something, and that weight of food as opposed to fruit of that weight, you can't get
it's
it.
Not even close.
Or vegetables, God forbid, even more expensive.
Oh my God!
I mean, fruit can be really cheap if it's in season, but vegetables seem to be always expensive.
Have you seen how much fucking tomatoes cost?
Depending on which ones.
Yeah, the cheapest obviously are Romas, and you can get those for like
99 cents a pound.
Yeah,
if they're in.
Everything else is like $3 for tomatoes. It's crazy.
Try getting like some San Marzanos. You're going to be paying
the big ones,
$6.99 a pound and shit.
Those the ones that are different colors. What are they called? Finger? No, that's potatoes.
Yeah, you're talking about potatoes.
You know what I mean?
I got you.
They're specific tomatoes. I forget what they're called. It doesn't matter, but they're like yellow and orange and green ones.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how much those things cost.
No, they're very expensive. So to get his fruit, he said, quote, "I slid my hand in the front of my shirt and smoothed it inside the waistband of my pants. Once it was tucked in, I pulled on my belt and slid the buckle to the tightest notch it could reach.
Till my legs fell asleep.
That's it, till I started losing circulation to my toes.
Till my toes tingled. That's when it was tight enough.
And I fell down." And he said, "I pulled that sucker snug until I couldn't get it any tighter." And then he dropped all sorts of fruit down. He talks about one story where some like old man chased him away, and they basically said, "Fuck you, old man," and ran away to somebody else's house. And
got your plums.
Yeah, and he's like, "I feel bad about that now. That probably was just some guy trying to, keep people." But we at the time we wanted the fruit.
But honestly, have you seen a tree full of fruit?
There's
enough. No way that guy's taking that shit to work and saying, "Get rid of this shit. Somebody make a pie."
Yeah, even if you're like a grower, there's a lot of wasted fruit.
It's a lot.
A few kids from the neighborhood taking some fruit isn't going to hurt your bottom line, man.
And it's helping them more than it's hurting you.
I was going to say, if you just gathered it up, how about gather it up and tell the kids, hey, guess what? You can have all the fruit you want to pick up.
Yeah.
How about that? Hire the kids, maybe.
Or you can have all the fruit you can pick off that tree, because if you don't pick it off that tree, it's going to fall on the ground, then it's going to rot, and it's going to smell disgusting around here.
We're going to get bugs and rats. And how much fruit could a fucking 9-year-old really fit in a shirt? I mean, honestly, how many apples is that? Really?
Is that a dozen?
What is that to you? What
Unless
do you care?
He gets it around the back, too.
Oh, probably.
He might be able to get 2 dozen in
Just
that.
Picture him running with all that fruit bouncing around. Now, that's his good memories of childhood right there. His
stealing
mom
to eat.
Stealing fruit with his friends and laughing about it and shit like that. That's fun shit when you're a kid doing fucking off. How many times did you get chased and have to jump over walls and shit? It's fun when you're a kid.
It's funny.
It's fun. It's funny. What wasn't so fun or so funny is the fact that he had a couple people in his life that were not exactly too nice to him.
Oh, no.
He calls these 2 people in his book, quote, the babysitter and the abuser.
Oh, no.
This is who he calls, what he says, at like 8 years old.
Yeah.
And, I'll just read this right from the book and let him say it. He says, quote, the first time I was molested, I had no concept of what sex was.
Fuck.
My mind and my body weren't prepared to be violated.
Yeah.
Yes. He was busy, said he was worrying about, comic books and shit and kid shit.
Stealing apples.
Yeah, he was worried about apples, and he said, I was literally worried about monsters. That was a concern. Monsters, superheroes.
He found out what a real monster is.
Yep, shit like that. He said, though, this is, he said it bothered him for years and years.
Oh, I'm sure.
He talked about, like, while he was on the football field at one point, when he's in the NFL, he made a play. It's like, I came off the field. People, he said, I think they were complimenting me. I don't know, because I was caught up in that again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's rough. And he didn't get a lot of therapy as a kid or anything like that. So he's got a lot of bad things in here. He says,
I wondered that a lot fairly recently, like, because in sports, it's commonplace. Smack a dude on the ass. You know what I mean? High five, hug, whatever. Just sheer statistics alone, there has to be plenty of dudes in those sports that have been sexually
and
abused.
Women too, as we know from all the Olympic shit too. I mean, probably more.
Yeah,
even.
but more because of the men, because they're like,
there's just more of them,
and looked at as like tough, and you can't hurt that guy. I mean, women, they're generally whatever.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
They're easier. They're more prey. It's not easier. It's just that they're more targeted as prey.
You consider
your
son as less of a target if you're a parent, even though they're absolutely just as much of a target. But you consider them less because you're like, oh, it's a boy, he'll be fine.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's got to be uncomfortable. I can't imagine being molested like that as a child and then having somebody, fucking smack your ass, or even worse, in hazing incidents and shit.
Yeah.
People trying to put shit in your asshole.
Yeah, get away from my ass. Well, he was abused by 2 women.
Oh,
That's the thing. Neither of these were men.
Really?
Yeah, neither were men. He was abused by 2 women.
And you don't see that as a thing.
No, and that's the thing. And for him, 2? 2 in a row. I mean, he must, I don't know what it was. They have a sixth sense, these fucking abusers. Yeah. They have a sixth sense. They really do. They know who's vulnerable and they know who's vulnerable enough to keep it to themselves. They have a weird fucking thing.
Bananas.
They're predators. I mean, just like every other predator, they have a sense of prey.
Yeah.
And he says, quote, "There are only 2 people in the world to blame for my molestation, the babysitter and the abuser." He said he never blamed his mom. He said she went to her grave never knowing about it. He never told his mom about it because he said it would break her heart.
Yeah.
Because she was away working the whole time, and he didn't want to make her feel guilty that he was there because she was working. So, I mean, that's brutal to feel that and never... he didn't get help as a kid because he didn't even tell his mom.
Right.
So there's no way. She basically he had him and a younger sister, and they'd find a neighbor to watch the kid's sister and him, and that would be the thing. They'd have to find a babysitter. So he said the babysitter lived near his apartment, and his mother knew her well. She wasn't a stranger, knew her real well. And he said nothing on the outside would make you concerned about this lady. Nothing, everything was fine. And he said that she would she would leave him by himself to watch TV on the sofa and let the sister play with her baby dolls, and she would have guys over all the time. She's an older woman too, not like she wasn't 16. And he said on most days she disappeared into the bedroom in the back of her apartment, and that's how it worked. She'd bring in guy friends, and they'd come and go all the time, bunch of different guys and all that sort of shit. And he said that he could hear what was going on in there, but he didn't know what was going on because he was 8.
Yeah.
And he said basically eventually the guys stopped coming as much, basically. Like, she didn't have as many boyfriends.
Okay.
And so he said that's when she started paying attention to him.
Oh, God.
He said she started out tickling me.
Yeah.
I would end up sprawled out on the floor in tears of laughter and shit like that, begging her to stop. One day, the babysitter offered to braid his hair, he thought. And he thought braided hair was cool. He was excited to change his look up, and his friends had hair and braids and shit, and so he wanted to do it. And he seemed it was great. And then he realized that this is all grooming nowadays, obviously. He said that was the day the playfulness crossed a boundary. And she said she finally found me a way to get me alone in her bedroom. And once she did, she secluded him behind a locked door. And he said that was it. He said that he was too young to realize what she was doing.
Yeah.
He said he just felt like shit. And he basically said that, anything that she was nice to me about was just grooming me for this. Right. So it was like, even that was, you couldn't trust people being nice to you then, because maybe they're doing that. And he also talks, it's weird because he really talks about his mom, like, this woman betrayed my mother's trust.
Right.
Which is like, he's more concerned about his mom, and his mom doesn't even know about it.
Right.
Which is...
And she'll never know because he never told her, and now it's too late.
Yeah, exactly. He said that she molested him for weeks. This went on for weeks, and he said it was fucking horrible, and then afterwards she'd give him ice cream. That was the thing. And he said,
"That'll make me hate Rocky Road."
He said, as if that was a fair trade for what was happening to me on a daily basis.
Your innocence cost ice cream.
He called it a corrupt bribe, which is a great way to putting it. She threatened to have him removed from his family if he said anything about that. And he said he was terrified and he didn't want anybody to know about it and get taken away from his mother. And he was just scared of fucking everybody, basically, at that point. So that ended up kind of ending after a while. He stopped going there. And then he said the oldest daughter of a family friend was the next person to do this to him. And he said that he doesn't know if she knew about what happened with the babysitter or not. He said, quote, "I often wonder if the two perverts were in cahoots with one another. Otherwise, it's hard to explain the boldness of their actions."
Why does that truthful statement sound so funny?
It's so true. Yeah. But the thing is, they probably didn't. They don't. Molesters generally don't discuss shit with each other. Molesting is a solo endeavor.
Right.
Whenever they talk about all these giant molestation rings that are going on,
how'd you even get on that conversation?
Like, I'll take a kid, then I'll give it to you. Right. That's very rare. Yeah. Molestation is a gross, private thing that you don't want any fucking body to know about because it's the worst thing you could fucking do to someone. It's terrible. There's
shame involved.
Exactly. Right. So, but it's that sixth fucking sense. They just knew she's a predator that could smell it on him. He said that this abuser spent very little time grooming him. He said that she was more aggressive than the babysitter. He said, quote, "She took the perversion to new levels that the babysitter never reached."
Oh, no.
Jesus. The abuser.
Backdoor.
Who knows? The abuser controlled what we did and forced me to engage in several different sexual acts.
God damn it.
And he said it was horrible. And basically, he said after that, he would find himself just zoning out and shit. And kind of trying to keep in his own little private world in his head.
Yeah, it's too fast, too much too soon.
He doesn't know what happened. And
oh, God.
Yeah. He said, quote, "The abuser was also more sophisticated than the babysitter. She forced me to wash my private area when she was finished assaulting me. She, too, used the threat of having me removed from my family if I were to ever speak of what had taken place to anyone."
She's done this before.
She's done this before. Yeah. They both have. You don't just decide to molest a fucking kid out of the blue. I mean, and the fucked up part is that was like a teenage girl, the abuser. Yeah. She was probably fucking abused. That's why she's doing this. Right. Most abusers were abused. That's how they got the idea. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And he's 8, so it's not like she's like getting it. You know what I mean? She's not getting anything from this.
I don't know.
Right?
Yeah, it's depravity. Oh, it's just a matter of you're fucking sick.
I suppose there's a way to get something out of anything from even no touching it.
It's more about the power for them. It has to. Yeah. It's not. It can't be for sexual.
There's no way there's sexual gratification there with an 8-year-old.
I would fucking hope not.
But it's an internal. It's not about making her feel good. Sometimes
it's about making you feel bad, and I think that's what it is.
I bet it is.
And he said, "quote Eventually, I would find a way to purge myself of my anger. It happened once I began playing football." There you go. If you're pissed off, it's a good boy. And a big guy, it's a good way to fucking take your anger out.
Absolutely.
He said, "Football would be the outlet that I desperately needed to unleash my fury. Looking back now, I would have never put on a jersey if I had known what I was doing might want to make someone kill themselves someday. However, at that time, I was likely to internally combust. I had to find a way to release the pressure that was boiling inside of me." Yeah. He said, "Football would end up being both my salvation from childhood torture and the door that would lead to my ruin."
My God.
Jesus Christ, man. That's crazy. That's ominous.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun. Fall of 1977, when he was 9, he said that's when he was looking for any way he could to not be put in someone else's care when his mom was at work. He was just looking for a way, something to do to not be abused.
Yeah.
And so he said that her rule was after school, I was to head straight to the babysitter's house, which she didn't want to do.
Right.
And he said she had no idea what was going on, but he said I told her I would, and every time I did, it ended badly. And this is gross too. He said, quote, "The babysitter was there just waiting to violate me.
God damn it.
She had this sickening sneer pasted on her face, a kind of gotcha look that was smug and devious." Jesus Christ, that is fucking awful. He said after that, though, that's when he started playing football. Mm-hmm. So instead of going to the babysitter, he'd go to football practice, and that was a way out. And I mean, football is not exactly healthy, but it's way healthier than getting molested.
I would say so.
He said, "I'd be lying if the sport came easy to him." He said he was athletic, but he didn't know anything about football. And, he said he dropped the ball all the time. He'd miss tackles. He's a bigger kid too. So he would kind of goofy. He said people called him sissy and butterfingers and shit like that. Yeah. And, he said it hurt, but he kept going. He ends up being in the neighborhood for a high school called Blunt High School.
Yeah.
But he wound up at Murphy High School. And this is the story behind it. I don't know how true it is, but it's the legend that's persisted. He smashed a backboard during a summer league basketball game in the 8th grade.
Like as a dunk?
He ripped it down.
All right.
Yeah. He's like 6'3", and he's really athletic. I mean, the guy, when he at the draft time, combine time, he's 6'3", 260 pounds, and he runs a 4.5 40. So it's a fucking scary, that's a scary athleticism, you know? So he said that a basketball coach told his mother, Cindy, that they would overlook the cost of replacing the backboard if he would transfer to that high school.
We could use him.
So I'll tell you what, come here.
We'll eat it.
It's all forgotten, which, I mean, if you have a bunch of kids, what are you going to make the kid pay for the backboard like he knew he could break it?
Right.
Jesus Christ. Dominique Wilkins couldn't fucking break it hanging on it and shit. I mean, I've seen.
Yeah.
Fuck. He attended Murphy High School in Alabama. Had a great high school career, too. As a senior, he had 130 tackles and 3 interceptions.
Holy shit.
Which seems like a lot for 10, 11 games that they play.
Right.
He was 1986 first team All-State, also named to the 86 Alabama Sports Writers Association Super 12 team, composed of the top 12 high school football players in the state of Alabama.
In a state where
the whole state, where
Bama
football
is their football team,
football,
that's a big deal.
And Auburn's their football is their religion.
Yeah.
I mean, besides Baptist. It goes Baptist, then football. Yeah. That's how it works down there.
Incredible.
He was also on the basketball team.
Of course.
As well.
Broke their fucking hoop.
Exactly. And helped lead the team to the state tournament in his freshman and senior year. So, it was 4 years of varsity also.
He's a champion.
Yeah. I found a old newspaper article from when he was playing high school basketball, and it's pretty fucking funny here. They talk about him. He joined in the senior year. He joined the basketball team with 12 games left in the season. And the coach said, quote, "He's a full-grown man, I'll tell you that. The guy's an athlete."
Take it easy, sir.
Oh, shit. Jesus Christ. He does play with a brace on his knee, which we'll talk about his knee a lot in this course of this episode here. Mm-hmm. And, he did really well. He they said McCants took the ball about 8 feet from the goal. He stepped, cupped the ball, leaped, and converted a one-handed throwdown slam that shook the backboard.
Awesome.
I mean, he's fucking dominating. They interview him afterwards, and he says, quote, "Football's still my number one sport. I just play basketball mainly for a hobby.
Yeah.
It can be a lot of fun."
Yeah, it trains you.
Can you imagine? They talked about another dunk where he had a two-handed dunk that was just as intense.
Yeah.
Imagine if you could, from 8 feet away, take a step, cup it, and just fucking throw it down and be like, it's just a hobby.
On a 10-foot hoop.
I mean, who cares, you know? And over kids who are trying to stop you from doing that, too.
People don't want this to happen.
This isn't a dunk contest here.
Wild.
And you're like, not a big deal. He said, since I got back on the team, I think we were really able to put things together and make a lot of progress. But I don't really feel I played up to my potential tonight. So there you go. Now, the Buccaneers end up having the same coach as Alabama. A coach from Alabama recruits him, a guy named Ray Perkins, who ends up coaching the Bucs. He was a huge failure as a Giants head coach.
Okay.
He was the New York Giants head coach before Bill Parcells.
Oh.
So he got shit canned. This guy drafted Lawrence Taylor, so I'll give him that.
Okay.
And then he was awful otherwise. So he had a good idea there.
He did one good thing by drafting, a freak of nature.
Yeah, I mean, anybody would have seen him and go, yes, that.
Yeah.
Him and Phil Simms he drafted too.
Okay.
So that's, that was the future.
Phil Simms was a good quarterback. Very milquetoast, but a
I remember
quarterback.
They both got inducted into the Giants Hall of Fame. I remember that in a halftime thing. Phil Simms throwing him a pass and shit in the celebration.
He's such a dork.
He is a fucking dork, yeah. He's just
an egghead.
He's almost invisible also. He's
just blends into every surrounding.
So just his hair is, I've never seen a man so, him and Boomer Esiason, I was convinced as a child were the same person.
Boomer Esiason looks like if Phil Simms worked out.
Yeah. I'm like, he's pretending to throw left-handed to throw us off the scent. It's ambidextrous, this bastard. How does he do it?
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
Boomer is Phil Simms with a blockhead. That's the only difference. Same
it's his
everything
big brother.
Else. Yeah.
Except Phil's older.
It's his big brother that gave him wedgies.
Yeah. So Ray Perkins tries to recruit him to Alabama.
Uh-huh.
But he said that he's a Tennessee fan. He said a guy named Charles Kimbrough, who also played for Murphy High School, he said was one of his idols, and he went to Tennessee.
Okay.
So he wanted to
play where he's at.
Yeah, he wanted to follow in his footsteps, and he said, there was that, but he said he took a visit to the University of Alabama, and he said, quote, it was like all that changed once I started stepping into the light.
Yeah, I saw all the scattered southern ass around here.
Yeah.
It's a little different story there than in Tennessee.
And they're so into it there.
Yeah.
I mean, that Crimson Tide, they're a fucking...
It's a part.
That's a fan base.
It's a scene.
It's
everything.
I mean, Tennessee, too, they're real into it.
Yeah, they give a shit, but...
Not like down there.
They don't.
They'll kill you over that shit down there, so it's big.
I bet somebody's been stabbed between Auburn and Alabama.
I'm positive of it.
Gunshots
I'm sure.
have been fired.
I mean, not like at the stadium, but in a trailer somewhere, in a holler. In a deep holler somewhere.
Somewhere between lot 112 and lot 63. There were some gunshots
shots fired, I feel like. Somebody went down in the gravel street. I'm pretty positive of it. So in 86, he goes to Alabama.
Okay.
And his grade in his freshman level English course was invalidated by the NCAA eligibility center.
Yeah.
So he lost. This was under Prop 48, which was overturned later on, but he had to abide by it. He lost a whole year of eligibility and couldn't even practice with them until 1987.
Oh, no.
So he had to basically pretend like he wasn't on the team for a whole year because he didn't do well in English. Like he's there to be a fucking English major.
What is he going to be, a professor here?
It's the University of Alabama.
Right.
Do you think fucking English really matters? Have you?
This state
is
realistic. Last and second to last in English.
And on top of that, they care about football.
Right.
Let's be realistic. Yeah. It's there to do football. That's why they're there. I mean, shit.
I get it. You want him to learn, but his capacity for learning is based upon your public school system.
And I'm sure they have a medical program and things that are great, great architecture or whatever the fuck they have. But for the most part, if you ask anybody, hey, what does Alabama, the fucking Crimson Tide, stand for? The football.
Yeah.
They don't know about that. He said that... or this is a coach of his, or I'm sorry, this is another player, Alabama's starting center for a few years here.
Yeah.
He said, I think the thing that stood out about Keith was he was a freak athlete. Everybody uses the term, but he's kind of one of those first guys that defined it. He was always one of the strongest guys on the team, and for how big he was just so fast. Okay. He was one of these guys who, when you saw him, you go, holy shit, that guy is just, I mean... There's so many guys now like that where you're like, oh, my God, it's a giant guy who runs like a deer and can jump and fucking, it's crazy.
The game is so fast today.
It's so fast.
So fast.
Yeah, he's an average player with his things now. This is what you have to be to be drafted
if
now.
If you don't have this, you don't have a shot.
Yeah. Whereas back then, that was like, holy shit, he's going to be the next Lawrence Taylor. Right. And that's what they were telling him. Really? Or the next Derek Thomas, because he played on the same team as Derek Thomas.
Really?
Yeah, he was like Derek Thomas's backup kind of deal here. Not backup, but he got less playing time because of Derek Thomas. And they ask him here, there's in his sophomore year, an interview about this later on. They said, your first year playing in Alabama, you shared the field with Derek Thomas. What did you learn from being around him? And do you have a favorite Derek Thomas memory? Okay. If you don't know, Derek Thomas was one of the all-time great outside linebackers as far as...
would have been one of the best ever.
He's LT without the killer instinct.
Right.
And I'm not saying he doesn't have a killer instinct, but no one has a killer instinct.
And a tinted shade?
Sometimes no one has a killer instinct like LT. It's just they don't.
He literally wants to kill.
LT, yeah. If you at that point, if you replace the other team and put animals out there, he would run them down and eat them with his bare hands. Right. He's just that fucking.
Until he
blood.
breaks somebody's bone, then he feels awful.
Yeah, he feels bad.
He wants to break your bone, but then when he does it, it's not.
It's like, I shouldn't have done that.
That was what I wanted.
That wasn't nice. He says, quote, my favorite DT memory was him waking me up at 3:30 in the morning, telling me to go to the next level and that this is what it's going to take.
Oh, my God.
This is what guys who are amazing in the NFL do. They wake up at 3 a.m. with a fucking chip on their shoulder.
Get up and go to the next level.
Wow, we're going to go to the next level. Can I go, back to sleep and then to the next level?
Yeah,
Can we go to the next level at about 7:30?
Take it easy, L. Ron Hubbard. I'm sleeping.
Yeah, what are we doing here? What level can we achieve in bed? Can I just be in between the two levels if I'm...
How much sleep do I require to go clear? That's what I want to do.
That's what I'm looking to do here. We would go out to the stadium steps and we would do things while everyone else was asleep at home.
My God.
That's why Derek Thomas was Derek Thomas. And we would do extra stuff on the field after everyone else had gone off the field.
Yeah.
We would do extra stuff so when the fourth quarter hit and everybody was tired, we were conditioned. We studied to become a student of the game. He was one of the best I've ever seen, especially in the NFL. Derek was unique. He was a great player.
Did he die in a car accident?
Yeah. It was sad. He was still playing, for fuck's sake. Yeah. That was sad, man.
Yeah. I was going to ask you to maybe this killed him if his heart exploded. Maybe get some fucking rest, Derek.
Maybe, Jesus, get some rest.
Accident. I had a feeling.
Yeah,
that's brutal, man.
It's wild. That it was terrible. I remember that. It was like, whoa, it was 99 maybe, something like that.
He was
2000.
so good.
He was fucking great.
Yeah.
He played number 58. He was the shit on the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So the 88 Alabama team that he plays on here, they go 9-3. Mm-hmm. They finish 17th overall in the AP poll. They do go to the Sun Bowl. Oh boy, they beat Army.
Is that in Florida? I think it is.
Probably. It's
or
the Sun
Louisiana.
Bowl.
Louisiana's a Sugar Bowl. Cotton Bowl?
Both sugar, cotton.
I'll bet the Sun Bowl's in Texas.
There's the sugar, the cotton, the peach. They're all down there. Who knows? The Sun Bowl, it's probably in New Mexico or something. But they beat Army 29-28, which playing Army in a bowl game. He finished second on the team that year with 78 tackles, second to Derek Thomas, obviously, and he recorded the most tackles on the team in 4 different games as well. He had a 17-tackle game versus Auburn.
That is awesome.
Versus Auburn. So that's... And 14 versus Mississippi State.
Leading tackles, that's incredible.
That's what they want to see right there. They don't give a shit what you do against other teams. They give a fuck what you do against Auburn.
Right.
So they ended up, like I said, beating Army, and McCants had a game high with 13 tackles also. Right. So a guy here, a coach of his, said, quote, on the field, he was unstoppable. Keith was like the Predator. Speed, power, and a bad attitude. Just all the tools. He was a man among boys. Sideline to sideline, cover, drop deep, intercepting passes, and rushing the passer. Everything. He was really fun to watch. He was, because he was he was a linebacker that just, if he was coming at you, you better watch out. And if he's dropping back in coverage, he's pretty nasty there too.
Yep.
And he had a big wide wingspan too for picking balls off. They said, the same guy said, he just had an innate sense of how to play the game of football. That's a dangerous person out there on the field, man. He was just intimidating. He'd hit people, and people did not want to be hit by him anymore. And he was nasty. Another coach said, Keith was a great athlete, a great player in college, but he was kind of a wild card. I think defensive coordinator Don Lindsay let him line up and do whatever he wanted to do. He kind of free reign, and maybe that created some bad habits. But it worked for him in college. He was a great college player, which if you have a guy that's that skilled in college, you'll have the other 10 guys have assignments, and that guy cause havoc.
Yeah.
Just wreck shit.
Break plays up.
And that's great in college, but you have to have an even greater level of crazy athletic ability to do that in the NFL.
Right. But you've got to understand. You've got to have
very few guys.
You got to have a football acumen to understand when to do what.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like that's what they did with LT.
Yeah.
Lawrence Taylor. They said
he's just so football
fucking
smart.
wreak havoc.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, and he would know right where to line up.
So football smart.
And I mean, he just was. It was ridiculous. He's a weird kind of savant.
Yeah.
So at this point, when he was in college, his dad got a hold of him.
Oh.
And his dad got a hold of him, and he heard that his dad was looking for him. He had stopped by the college and asked for him and shit like that. So he finally went to see his dad. And he said that he went to a building that he had, and he was deciding whether to go in. Finally, he said, screw this. He saw the sign in the stairwell, and he just jogged up to the 3rd floor where his dad...
Sign say open?
Dad, I guess it was his office or something.
Sign say open.
Yeah, sign say open. Sign say open. I changed mine. You have Schwaderman now. He said, as the doors opened, I hustled to room 320.
Yeah.
He said there were several unfamiliar faces gathered in the waiting area outside of the room. The door to room 320 was closed. I felt all the eyes of the people in these hard plastic chairs staring in my direction. I said, do you know if Herbert Kaiser is in this room? And the guy said, and somebody said, who are you? A woman asked him, and he said, I'm his son, Alvin. I was told to get here as quickly as possible, that he wanted to see me. And she said, I'm sorry, but Herbert passed away 20 minutes ago.
Oh, no.
So then he missed his dad there. So he was upset about that. He finally decided, you know what, I'm going to try to have a relationship with the guy. Fine. And then he went to went to see him, and he's dead.
It's over.
So his dad had a will.
Okay.
His dad's got money.
He does.
He's got all sorts of shit. And he said he was called in for the reading of the will.
Oh, no.
Because he was named in the will. He said the balding lawyer who was reading from the will, he said, got ready to read. And he said, quote, to my son, Alvin Keith McCants, I, Herbert Kaiser, being of sound mind and body, leave absolutely nothing.
Wow.
Left him ugats, but made sure to mention it.
Yeah.
So he couldn't say that.
Not just nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
Isn't that fucking ridiculous?
That's a cunt move, man.
Yeah. He said it was just, I felt nauseous. If I were to describe my state of mind at that moment, I would simply say I was devastated.
Yeah.
He said he felt like he let him back in.
Right.
And gave him a drop of trust.
Right.
And then he just fucking burned him again.
And even worse from that, a dead man who, for all intents and purposes, is supposed to take care of you.
Yeah.
His last moment of acknowledgement of you is to tell you, I give you nothing.
Nothing.
I mean,
Ugats.
he should have understood.
Yeah, he said it was just the final insult.
Just another time that he gave me nothing.
Yep, it's exactly what he said. He goes, I just considered it the final insult from my dad, and whatever. My mom's the only one that fucking cared.
Wow, man.
So good for him there, anyway, for realizing that. So, but you can see where bitterness is going to creep in from his childhood through now. There's a lot of chip on his shoulder.
So far, one person on earth has cared for him.
That's what I mean.
That's crazy.
Yeah. In 1989, Alabama, they go 10-2.
Yeah.
This time they finished 9th. They go to the Sugar Bowl, which we're not sure where that is. I believe it's in New Orleans.
I think it is in Louisiana, right?
I think. Do they make sugar there?
Sugar cane? Yeah, there's got to be sugar cane in Louisiana.
It's damp, I guess.
Yeah.
But they lose that game.
Don't tell me, because I fucking don't care.
We don't give a shit at all. They lose that game to Miami of Florida. So that was the U at that point. Yeah. They lose 33-25.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing on the U, they talk about that game a lot. He led the team this year with 119 tackles and 4 sacks.
Wow.
So he was all over the place. His 119 tackles ties him for 6th all-time for tackles in a season by an Alabama player.
Awesome.
Not bad. Also in 89, he is the Butkus Award runner-up.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the best linebacker in college,
yeah.
Which, by the way, Brian Bosworth won that twice in a row.
Did he really?
Fucked up. And how weird is that?
Has anybody ever done that?
I don't know. But
They've got to have, right?
I don't know. I guess since then, probably. Although if you win it once, you're probably coming out.
Yeah.
Now, you're not sticking around.
But you get 2, then you're for sure coming out.
Yeah. He was a runner-up to Percy Snow of the Chiefs.
Really?
Who also, Percy Snow. I remember that guy. He was a unanimous first-team All-American. He's also, Alabama was the SEC champion.
Okay.
He's first-team All-SEC. CBS, like the TV network, National Defensive Player of the Year.
Wow.
And MVP of the Iron Bowl.
Awesome.
Which was I think that's Alabama.
I think that's in Pittsburgh.
I think that's, no, I think that's Alabama Auburn.
Okay.
That's the game they play against each other, I believe.
Really?
If not,
Is there that much iron in fucking Alabama?
I think it's the award.
They've got a bowl?
I think it's a trophy that you get.
God.
That's some sort of.
Okay.
I don't know what the fuck.
It's a duel in the desert here.
Yeah, it's all.
And what do they win? A fucking hourglass of sand?
What do they win? Here, I think they win a thing of sunblock. I believe it's just you win you win some Hawaiian tropic. It's
Copper tone gift
That's all you get. Yeah, that's what you get. Here you go.
Here you go, sun bum. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. And here's one of those bad sun chairs that'll rot out in the sun in 6 months and you'll fall through on your ass. One of these.
Here's a skin doctor appointment. Go get your moles checked.
Everything here just rots.
Yeah.
The sun it's fucked up. Like you'd think
everything.
Back east it rains and shit. You'd think things would fall apart. They last forever.
Yeah.
Out here you leave something in the sun for 15 minutes and it's disintegrated to shit.
Your car's floorboards will have holes in it for sure. But here everything rots.
It just rots. It doesn't rust. It just rots. Everything but cars.
It turns back to dust.
Yeah, it does.
Goes back
Returns to the earth. Here, car-like bodies don't rust, but everything in the engine deteriorates to nothing.
All the rubber.
If you don't use your windshield, well, either way, even if you do use them, you need 2 new pairs of windshield wipers a year in Phoenix because if it rains once and you're like, oh, I haven't had these on in 3 months, you turn them on and one of the rubber things comes completely off and goes back and forth on your windshield.
Scratch the shit out of your windshield.
It's the worst
thing. Now I need windshield wipers and a windshield.
Fuck. God damn it. So that was his.
You got an etched rainbow.
That's what everybody out here has, an etched rainbow. If you've had your car more than 3 years, you have a fucking scratched etched rainbow because you've lost a windshield wiper at some point.
Unreal.
In the dry. So there's rumors of him coming out early. Mm-hmm. And nowadays, obviously, that is completely normal. If you finish your junior year and there's any interest in you at all, you're coming out.
You're done,
You might hurt yourself.
Right.
You're not throwing the money away. Right. Back then, that was still considered crazy to come out early.
Really?
Oh, yeah. That was not normal at all. Mm-hmm. So at that point, I think they just made it so you didn't have to apply for like a hardship waiver, which you used to have to do, like prove you were poor.
Right.
Yeah. Like I need money, period. I don't fucking have to prove that to you.
I can't keep making money for old men. I need it.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. I need to make it for richer old men so they can give me some of it anyway. So the February 12th, 1990 issue of Sports Illustrated had an article that focused a lot on McCants. The name of it was The Young and the Restless.
Okay.
And it was a profile of him and other college juniors who wanted to declare for the NFL draft, basically. Before this, Chicago Tribune's Ed Sherman described McCants as the biggest all-around star in the whole draft.
Okay.
He said he had pro scouts drooling over him and projected him to be, quote, a virtual lock to be the top pick in next spring's NFL draft.
Okay.
That's a lot. That says a lot. Like I said, he's really strong, and he's running a 4.51 40-yard dash, which is obscene, honestly. Like, a receiver can run that.
Right, that's what receivers generally run. But for a linebacker, that's nuts.
Nowadays, that's a possession receiver.
Right.
But it's a linebacker. It's also a linebacker.
Right.
But
that's a guy running down the field trying to gain yardage, not a guy racing after the quarterback to stop yardage.
Not a 260-pounder anyway.
Right.
You might have guys that are... I mean, like LT was 230.
Yeah.
He wasn't a big, which made the way he hit even more remarkable.
Just
but
dangerous.
Still, that's a big man to be running 4.51. This guy. He became friends with Emmitt Smith in college.
Okay.
Because they both played down there. Emmitt played at Florida, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. The Gators, I'm pretty sure. Was it that or Florida? No, it was Florida. They became friends. So Keith and Emmitt Smith became friends because, like I said, they played in the same conference, and they were both named to the '89 All-American team.
Okay.
And Smith called him, actually. Yeah. Emmitt Smith, think about this now. Emmitt Smith at this point in his life has a lot of success, a lot of money, kind of a big, what's the way I want to look at this? Got a lot of respect in football and all this sort of thing.
Casts a big shadow.
Yeah, and Keith McCants at this point is, people are surprised when he's not in prison. So it's like one of those. But at this moment in time, Emmitt was calling Keith for advice.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which, I don't know if he took it or not.
What did he ask him?
Well, he ended up taking it because he called him for advice leading up to the 1990 draft, whether to come out early, because Emmitt came out early too. And, basically, they wanted to come out. They couldn't at that point, so NFL knew there was a shitload of lawsuits coming out of this, and they thought they were going to lose. So in late February, they allowed juniors to enter the draft. Really? The NFL just gave up and said, fine, you don't have to, if you played 3 years, now the rule is 3 years. Remember the whole Maurice Claret episode? All bullshit. All ridiculous. So, they thought they were the team that was number one at that point that had the pick was the Atlanta Falcons.
Okay.
Who were coming off a 3-13 shit show of a season. Yeah. So that's who they thought was going there. And Keith said about coming out early, he said, I knew they were going to let it happen. We had some inside information. I was the first one to make the announcement. I talked to Emmitt Smith and said, you announce first. He said, no, you announce first. You take the attention. No, you do it. You take the heat. So I made that announcement. I made the announcement that I was gone. I had to withdraw from school and all that. A lot of Alabama fans were really upset. But one reason I felt I left was because I had a bad knee. I was already hurt. So he was like, another year, I might have fucked my knee up worse.
This might be the end of it.
Not had all that money, man. He said, football is a child sport, but you get paid extremely well to do it. That became my profession, and I worked all my life to get there. And I'm right there. I was rated number one in the country. Why wouldn't you turn pro? It wasn't as much about the money as it was about making it and playing in the National Football League. About 0.1% of the people in college football make it in the NFL, and I was ranked number one in the world. That says a whole lot.
Yeah.
Anybody who gets upset at someone coming out, what the fuck would you do? No, I think I'll stay here and risk the security of my entire future and my family and 4 brothers and sisters and my mom who lives in the projects. That's okay.
Yeah.
They can go on because college is just fun. And I want these fans to just have a good time next year.
The other side of the coin is your goal in college is to be number one.
Yeah.
He's number one. He did it early.
Yeah.
He should be able to leave.
If you were going to college for like marketing or something and the top ad agency in the world taps you and says, we want to give you our star position and
you're
pay you a shitload of money.
You're number one in the world in marketing.
We think you're going to be the best. You'd fucking leave college because that's why you're going to college.
Right.
So, he said, quote, I had a bad knee, double bad, and I was having problems with that knee. It was like I don't know if I would have stayed an extra year. I don't know what would have happened. I don't know if I would ever have gotten the chance to make it to the National Football League or play in the National Football League, which is every college and high school kid's dream. Yeah. I knew I was going to go pretty high after talking to several NFL teams. I hated to leave Alabama. Alabama will always be my heart. Those were the best years of my career. I miss college. I miss it with a passion. I don't think I've ever heard anyone put it like that. But when I stepped into the NFL, it was business, and I didn't know how big of a business it was until I got there. And very much a business.
It's everything.
And like I said, he looked like he was going to be number one. But the Falcons, the Falcons didn't like his agent.
Oh, no.
And that's a problem at that point. His agent, Lance Luchnick.
Of course it's a Lance.
Had never represented an NFL player before.
Why would McCants take that guy?
And he was an NBA agent, but he had been decertified by the NBA.
What?
So I don't know why. I don't know if he did something wrong.
Why'd you get tied up with this guy?
That's the thing. He got talked into it. He gets talked into a lot. He's a very naive guy, Keith. He really is. That's the problem, as we'll talk about it.
Trusting.
Very naive. Very kind of country, like, even though he's not really from the country, he's got that country, like, I guess I'll go along with it, and people just walk all over him. And one anonymous general manager in the NFL told the Sporting News that McCants' choice of agent called his character into question, which is bullshit.
That's crazy.
His character, that's stupid. That's just stupid. He says that McCants says that they wrote, quote, chop jobs about him. Talking shit. You could take, he's the number one guy. Let's see what's something wrong with him. There's a million articles about how great he is. Let's find one about how shitty he is. Len Pasquarelli, who's an NFL writer for years and years, was with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution then, and he and a couple other guys put together a story on March 20th, 1990, and it detailed alleged illegal payments to an unidentified member of the McCants family by the agent Luchnick or whatever his name is, who also represented McCants' cousin, who is NBA forward Willie Anderson.
Oh, really?
Who also had some problems, if I'm not mistaken. No, never mind. It was Greg Anderson. It's Cadillac. Different guy. Okay. Did Willie have? I don't remember. But either way, there you go.
You got it.
So that's how he knew Luchnik or whatever his name is. Pasquarelli came to Mobile to interview McCants, and McCants said that he thought it was going to be a positive story, like all the other ones they were doing. And he said after it was published, he said the Falcons were spooked and didn't want him anymore, basically. Luchnik ended up paying $5,000 fine for failing to register as an agent in the state of Alabama, which was required. Yeah. McCants said about the article, quote, "They did a lot of digging. They looked at everything, any kind of surgery. They looked at it. I had a couple of surgeries while I was at Alabama, and then with the NFL, they just kind of turn you inside out." Right. Well, yeah, that's gross too. He said that Pasquarelli came in and just humiliated me and cut me down to size. He said, that's why they hire reporters. They say, quote, "Go in here and do this to this guy," which isn't really it. It's more like, what's everybody else saying? What can I get attention if I say? Kind of a different thing here. But either way, the same result. He said when it happened, it was so mind-boggling that I didn't understand it at all, and he didn't get it. He said, quote, I got to sleep one night and I wake up and I've got everything in the world negative, talking about my legs, my work ethic. I killed a man. He didn't kill a man, but he's just saying, like, where the hell did this come from? That's when I realized that this right here is a business. Yeah. Well, no shit. His agent refused to discuss the money accusations. And they said this is an unidentified family member that the Atlanta Journal-Constitution is quoting. Quote, "Somebody in the family got money from Luchnik, but it wasn't Keith or Mama McCants. They haven't taken anything from anybody, from no agent. There wasn't any handouts to this house." So that's what they said there. And the agent said, quote, "I've been hired to do his contract and it ends there. The other stuff doesn't matter. The things people are talking about, things in my past, they've got absolutely nothing to do with Keith McCants or his contract." Okay. So he shows up for individual workouts with NFL teams out of shape and overweight.
Oh, no.
Which is a bad sign. Yeah. It's never good.
That calls into question your character.
This is all, just you can't even hold it together for another few months till you can get drafted. Yeah. So he worked out there. And also the other thing is he's been listed at Alabama at 6'5", always. 6'3". So everybody thought he was 6'5", and then they measure him and he's 6'3".
Yeah, that's a problem.
That's not okay. Right. Yeah, that's the college that does that shit, though. They just want it to look better in the program, like fucking wrestling.
Yeah, and from the stands, you look at a guy that's 6'3" and a guy that's 6'5", you can't fucking tell.
No, with helmets and who the hell knows? They all look huge. I don't know. So the height's a problem, but he's 6'3", 260, runs a 4'5", 140.
That'll do.
Pretty fucking awesome. I'm sorry. He doesn't need to be 6'5". Who cares? So the 1990 NFL draft comes up. Mel Kiper Jr. said that during the first day of the NFL draft, he called Keith the best defensive player in the draft. He said, in my opinion, Keith says in his opinion, he should have been number 1 overall. Someone once asked me if I wanted to be the next Cornelius Bennett, to which I proudly responded, no, I want to be the first Keith McCants.
There you go.
That's the way to do it. Now, Atlanta trades the pick, the number 1 pick, to the Colts, who pick up, Jimmy, remember?
90?
90.
No, I don't.
Jeff George.
Oh, embarrassing.
Oh, man. One of the greatest arms of anybody who's ever played football, and just never a more hated guy in football. Everyone fucking hates that guy.
Well, he could throw it really long to the other team.
No, he was a great dude. He's an amazing guy at dropping back and throwing a pass. Yeah. Everything outside of that, he just doesn't do well in the NFL. Like he would be. I remember that one year with the Raiders. I want to say it was like 97.
Raiders?
Yeah, he was with the Raiders at the end there.
I remember that.
The team was like terrible. I want to say they were 4-12 or something. But he had like 31 touchdowns and 5 picks or some shit. Like he had a smoke in the ear throwing the deep ball, but the team was awful. It was one of those type of guys. So they get him. 2nd overall, another bust.
Go on.
Blair Thomas, the running back from Penn State. The Jets pick him up and doesn't work out. He hurts himself and just fights his whole career with injuries. 3rd overall, though, a Hall of Famer, Cortez Kennedy, defensive tackle for the Seahawks out of Miami. That's it's big. Yeah. Number 4 overall is the Tampa Bay Bucks, and they take Keith McCants with the number 4 overall pick in the draft. And that's going to sound very high when I tell you who's picked next. Number 5 overall is the San Diego Chargers, and they take who?
Phillip Rivers.
Junior Seau.
Oh, no!
Who plays linebacker as well.
How do you take McCants over him?
So no matter what, the Bucs are always going to get, you could have Junior Seau. Yeah. Wow. That was a fuck up, eh? That would have changed the trajectory of your franchise, possibly.
Yeah, because the Chargers were shit for so long.
They sucked
until they get Junior, and that's when everything started to turn around, right?
Not by 94, they're in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, they had Natron Means, and it wasn't their quarterback situation.
Was Marty
either.
Schottenheimer yelling at him then?
No, he was still in Kansas City then.
Was he?
Yeah, that was like June Jones and guys like that. I don't remember who the guy was in 94 when they went, but they were there. Number 6 overall, another great defensive player, free safety Mark Carrier for the Bears out of USC. He was hard-hitting son of a bitch. Yeah. Number 7, here's a draft bust for you. Heisman Award winner, I believe. Detroit Lions quarterback. You know who it is?
No.
Andre Ware. Remember him?
Yeah.
Out of Houston, I want to say. He didn't win the Heisman, I don't think, but he was University of Houston. I want to say he had like record in touchdown passes or amount of yards or some shit, but in the NFL, it didn't translate. Sure. They didn't really give him a chance either, I'll say.
No, Detroit's famous for just ruining people.
Yeah, especially quarterbacks back then, because they were doing the run and shoot. Yeah. Then they were doing the thing where they'd switch out quarterbacks with Pete and Eric Kramer back and forth, which never works either. Let's see. Dolphins picked Richmond Webb at number 9, who was around forever as a tackle. Ronaldo Turnbull, Lamar Lathan.
Oh my God, this is a bad draft.
17 overall, Dallas selects Emmitt Smith.
Oh, that is good.
So that's 3 Hall of Famers in the first 17 picks is pretty good.
Not so bad.
And then after that, Rodney Hampton, who was a good Giants running back through the 90s. Rob Moore, the Jets. Okay, receiver, that sort of thing here. The San Diego Chargers picked Seau, obviously, like we said, 12-time Pro Bowler and Hall of Famer. I guess Seattle almost took McCants over Cortez Kennedy.
Really?
They thought about it. Yeah. This is general manager of the Seahawks here, a guy who went on to be one at the time. He was in the front office. He said, I remember a big kid that was physical, could have probably played any of the 4 linebacker positions for us at that time. We played a 4-man front, so he wasn't a great fit for us, and that's probably why he didn't get more traction at our place, just based on fit. And I think we were kind of in love with Cortez. We just thought Cortez was such a good fit for what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
That's just obviously. Other guys in that draft as we go on, a few, there's a bunch of NFL guys who played all through the 90s. We won't bore you with that, but pick number 192, the Broncos selected Shannon Sharp.
That far down?
That far down. So I think it was 4th round.
Wow.
So I figured I'd tell you their 6th round.
Shannon.
So good for him. Let's just say this. Picked before a Hall of Fame player, grace.
Yeah.
This is grace. Right? If you're picked before Junior Seau, he's in a Hall of Fame sandwich, basically.
It's unbelievable.
But he's the non-Hall of Fame meat in a Hall of Fame sandwich.
Picked
4th overall. 2 days after the draft, he undergoes knee surgery.
2 days.
2 days. So he's waiting to get. He's waiting to get drafted, so he didn't ruin his draft position. And Ray Perkins, who was the Bucs coach at that time, he said, quote, and this is the guy who recruited him to college, so that's why they picked him, obviously. He said Keith had a really great ability to play the linebacker spot. As far as height, speed, weight, everything else, I felt like he had everything that could possibly make him a really good at the pro level. I knew when we drafted him it was going to take some time. You're not talking about a finished product coming out of college. So is he ready to line up in a regular NFL game and start? No, not yet.
Okay.
That's fine. That's, because he's a rookie.
All right.
A lot of football cards, like I said, out on him. His one football card from Score quoted Kentucky head coach Jerry Claiborne and said, quote, Keith is one of the best football players I've ever seen. Have you ever seen a linebacker as big as he is? I never have. He looks like an elephant and runs like a deer.
Oh.
It's a big compliment from a opposing coach here. And also Ray Perkins, very excited to have him on the team, said he plays like he's never out of the play. That's the intensity level I love. Yeah. So good for him. He signs with the Bucs, and Hugh Culverhouse, the Bucs owner, is notoriously a fucking cheapskate.
Yeah.
Doesn't give bonuses. Guys hold out. They drafted Bo Jackson first, and Bo said, I'll go play baseball. I'll go to the minor leagues and ride a fucking bus rather than play for your shit team.
Okay.
So that's where the Bucks were at this point. And that was only 3 years earlier.
So what do you make?
But they ended up having to open the checkbook for him because Culverhouse is also an Alabama alum.
Oh, and booster.
And loves Alabama. So he's excited about Keith McCants. He's been watching him for 4 years.
Yep.
So McCants signs a 5-year, $7.4 million deal, which in 90 was enormous, and a record-setting for a defensive player, $2.5 million signing bonus. That was a record for a defensive player at that point. So this is good for him.
Very well paid.
Yeah. His agent called it fair and equitable for both sides. Yeah, no shit.
I really like that commission check.
It was pretty good. I enjoyed getting that fucking 4%. He said he needed a week to get ready, and we went to work and got it done. Keith is an intelligent young man, and he made all the decisions. Okay. Also here's a guy named Danny Sheridan. He is a sports analyst and a handicapper. He met McCants when McCants was 14, and this guy liked McCants and thought he was a good kid and watched his football career approach. And when the draft when the draft came up, he ended up obviously going into the draft rather than staying for his senior season. And this guy Sheridan says, quote, I told him he had to take his signing bonus and put it away and invest it. Not pay any taxes on it, just live very comfortably off his salary, which is $300,000 a year.
Right.
Put that shit away and invest it. Don't piss it away and have to pay all these taxes and shit. Invest it in something. He said that way, if he got hurt and the money dried up, he'd have something to fall back on.
Yeah.
Very good advice. Brilliant advice. And if you end up signing a big contract next time, then take it and buy a fucking car with it. Who cares?
Nuts.
Buy a house. Who gives a shit? But for now, put it in the bank. Quote, Keith, he wouldn't hear of it. I said, Keith, if you don't listen to me, you're going to have all this new wealth. You're going to be surrounded by an entourage of people who like you just because you have money. And unless you're the next Lawrence Taylor, in a few years, you're going to be broke.
Yeah.
And guess what happened to him?
Yeah. He said, that sounds fun.
He said that he's literally on a documentary called Broke in 2012. Literally for ESPN.
Damn it, Keith.
Not good. Ray Perkins, even his coach, talks to him about money. Yeah. Everybody around him tries to tell him, hey, look, man, he's never had any money.
This shit's fleeting, Keith.
And he's never had any money, so you can't expect him to know how to manage money. Right. That's perfectly fine. If it's hard if you give someone who's never had shit and steals fruit when they're a kid, and you go, here's $2.5 million in cash, you can't expect them to go, oh, what's the interest rate on T-bills right now? They don't fucking, how the hell is he supposed to know?
What's better, hedge funds or CDs?
He's 20. He's 21 years old. Right. I mean, 21 years old, shitload of money, and feeling like you're Zeus.
Yeah.
Fuck,
and
man.
somebody telling you that you're about to have a bunch of new friends?
Yeah, that sounds
great.
Yeah, I would say. Now, Ray Perkins, the coach, said he sat him down when he got the $2.5 million. And Perkins said he knew of financial advisors in Alabama who could help him manage his money for free. They wouldn't even charge him. They just don't want him to fuck up, basically.
Yeah.
But, alumni, people that would take very good care of him and not steer him in the wrong direction. And he instead, he hired his agent, basically, and to do that sort of shit. He's dumb with money. That's one thing. He's not good with money. Shortly after he signs, McCants visited Jimmie Wigfield, who's a Mobile Press Register sports writer who'd covered him for his whole career. McCants offered to buy him a Jeep.
Why?
Just because he liked him.
Hey, Wigfield.
Yeah, he goes, hey, Wigfield, I'm going to buy you a Jeep.
What do you think about the CJ?
Yeah, and Wigfield said he couldn't accept it because it's not ethical. I'm a sports writer. I can't take a Jeep from a player. Right. You crazy?
Why don't you buy one and I'll go ride around with you?
Yeah, that sounds fun. I'll write a story about it. He says, quote, I'm not sure he understood. He meant well. I think for every one of me, there were 10 other people around him who would take him up on such offers.
Yeah.
That might explain where all that money went. And here's another story of him pissing money away. This is at a dinner. Before he's due to report back to the Bucks for training camp, he returned to Alabama with literally just a briefcase full of cash.
Why would you?
Just a pile of money.
Oh, my God.
He got together with some of his old friends. Jesus, don't do that.
No.
In the media, and they had dinner at the Mobile's Riverview Plaza Hotel, which I guess is expensive. And here's a sports writer here, and one of his coaches talks about this. Quote, Keith was sitting at the table at the Riverview with some woman that he had brought with him from Tampa. He said Wayne Rowe was there, who was a writer. Wayne Rowe's wife was there. I was going to treat everybody. I left the table and told everybody, you all get what you want and I'll be right back. This is the coach guy here. He said, I had a few $100s in my pocket. I came back and there was a $200 bottle of Dom Perignon sitting on the table with the cork out.
Yeah.
It was one of those corks that flared out when you took it out of the bottle.
So it doesn't go back in?
It ain't going back in. It's champagne.
It's over.
Yeah, I'm like, who ordered this? I took a steak knife and whittled the cork down to where I could get it back in the bottle and told them, come get this because I'm not paying for it. Oh, my God. That's hilarious. He fucking whittled away a cork and stuck it back in a champagne bottle. That's not going to work.
No, that's yours, sir.
Yeah, you can't
own that.
You can't put the pop back in a champagne bottle. Wow. He says, quote, the fix was already in. Keith was going to pay for it. Come to find out, Keith had an attaché case with him, and I swear to God it had $500,000 in it in cash.
What? God,
why are you carrying that around? Don't carry that. It was unreal. I told Keith, you can't be walking around with this kind of money, but he was from the Orange Grove projects and never really had anything. I'm sure they took care of him up at Alabama, but he's like so many of these other kids. Once they get a chance, they buy jewelry and things that are expensive and cars, and they just go overboard because they're young.
Right.
Anybody young is going to go, I want a fucking flashy car that makes girls want to fuck me more.
Right.
I want something. I want a nice watch. I want a nice apartment.
And fun.
And fun, because I'm young and indestructible. Right. Look at me. I'm so athletic. I'm amazing.
This is only a fifth of my signing bonus. It's fine.
Yeah. Another coach tells a story of McCants returning to Tuscaloosa around the same time and showing off, quote, a damn briefcase full of $100 bills to his former teammates. So he came in to show all his Alabama teammates, hey, this is what the NFL can do.
Right.
He says, Keith does, quote, I was able to keep good on my promise and buy my mother the home of her dreams. It was an enormous house.
Uh-huh.
What do you think an enormous house is? For Mom.
2,000 square feet.
8,800 square feet.
What?
For Mom. Mom does not need 8,800. Nobody
10,000 square feet of house.
9,000 square feet of house. Come on.
God, Jesus.
I mean, seriously, think about how that's just
got
silly.
Mom her dream house. Why does Mom have that kind of dreams at this point?
I guarantee you Mom was like, that's too big for me. I bet you anything. She was like, don't buy me that. That's crazy. It was nestled in the middle of 40 acres of land.
Oh, God.
8,800 square feet on 40 acres of land.
How many dollars is that?
A lot, probably. Yeah. It's very expensive. He said, I wanted all of that and more in the house I was buying for my mother. We would never have to imagine what it was like sitting inside of one of those modern day castles any longer because we would have our own.
Yeah.
He said that also, quote, my newfound wealth also meant I had a whole new set of, quote, best friends.
Yeah, shitloads of them.
Oh, they all love you
awesome.
now. Oh, you're the best, Keith. And the adoration of relatives whom I hadn't spoken to in quite some time. Honestly, I was my own worst enemy. I was too generous. My girlfriend at the time, Crystal, thought so too. My generosity contributed to our breakup. Wow. Yeah. Suddenly I was helping family members with college tuition and car payments.
No.
Oh boy. This isn't the first time you've heard all this too familiar story. When a person goes from rags to riches, people start to come out of the woodwork to get their hands in your pocket.
Sure.
I don't want to leave the impression that I didn't treat some of myself to some of life's finer things, because I did. Yeah. Gold jewelry, Rolex watches, new cars, a spectacular home in Tampa were just a few of the things that I indulged in. Uh-huh. And in the Broke documentary, he talks about he bought a boat. Uh-huh. He's got like a big boat, and something happened to that because he likes scuba diving. He's got a big giant fucking boat. He's got all this shit, and he just said he just didn't even think where it would go. Just spent money, and if he still had money, great. He keeps spending it.
My God,
which is a bad thing to do. 1990 in Tampa, here the Bucks finish. Ray Perkins gets shit canned, by the way, the guy that drafts him, and in the middle of the season, and they go 6-10 that year. Mm-hmm. I don't know what they expected out of the Bucks. They sucked. Yeah. They had their two quarterbacks, Vinny Testaverde and Chris Chandler.
Okay.
Remember those guys? Yeah. Absolutely. Gary Anderson, Reggie Cobb as the running backs. I remember all these fucking guys from football cards and shit. And the Bucks games are never on TV.
Yeah.
So he's still bothered by the knee injury during his rookie year. one of his teammates said, quote, I remember seeing him move around that first year, and I said to myself, something isn't right with him. He's hurt.
Yeah.
And he was hurt. He had a problem. He played in 15 games, only started 4, and he had 44 tackles, 2 sacks, and a fumble recovery.
And he's had surgery.
Okay. Which isn't terrible. I mean, it's, it could go either way. Ray Perkins said, when he got to our place, it just blew up. I don't really know what happened to him. He had a great ability to play the game. As far as I know, he was a great kid. He just went down an alley he shouldn't have gone down. That's about it. It's a shame, and that just has to be about it. Now, the problem is they rushed him back from surgery to get in the thing. And I'm sure he wanted to rush back, and they wanted to rush him back. He said he wanted to justify his signing bonus and his pick, basically. Right. I'm number 4 overall. I can't be sitting out.
There's a lot of pressure on you.
A ton of pressure. And it's at this point that he said he started taking pain medication to get into the game. He said, quote, I was just thinking about going out on the field and proving that I should have been number 1. They would give you pills, put them in a bottle. I'd take them when I was in pain. The knee started having wear and tear on it. One of the coaches made the comment that I would not be able to play after 5 years. So, yeah, they start giving him pills.
Here's the danger with numbing that. It's hurting because your body's telling you no.
Absolutely.
Behind the closed doors of government offices and military compounds, there are hidden stories and buried secrets from the darkest corners of history. From covert experiments pushing the boundaries of science to operations so secretive they were barely whispered about. Each week, on Redacted, Declassified Mysteries, we pull back the curtain on these hidden histories. 100% true and verifiable stories that expose the shadowy underbelly of power. Consider Operation Paperclip, where former Nazi scientists were brought to America after World War II, not as prisoners, but as assets to advance U.S. intelligence during the Cold War. These aren't just old conspiracy theories. They're thoroughly investigated accounts that reveal the uncomfortable truths still shaping our world today. The stories are real. The secrets are shocking. Follow Redacted, Declassified Mysteries on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Redacted early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this white Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
And all you're doing is numbing it and playing through the pain.
Oh, fuck yeah. Wait till you hear something he does with that or they do with him.
Yeah,
It's wild. This is when he gets into scuba diving and buys boats and shit, too.
Yeah. Scuba diving's good for your leg.
That's good.
You're moving it, and there's no resistance.
That's good shit. And maybe that's why he started doing it. They probably told him swimming was good.
Yeah.
91.
But there's a difference between swimming and spending $20,000 on fucking scuba gear.
And a boat.
Yeah.
Don't forget the whole boat to go scuba diving.
And off the coast of Florida, you're not buying a $20,000 boat.
And then down in the Caribbean, he went scuba diving, and, he likes to go around.
This is a $300,000-$400,000 boat.
This is a problem. Yeah, it's a lot. So the next year, Coach Floyd Peters was brought in, and he converted McCants from a linebacker to a defensive end.
Okay.
And Keith didn't want to do it, but the guy told him that he could be very successful and told him that you could be the next Chris Dolman, because that's what Chris Dolman did, and he was a great player.
Seahawks.
Yeah, the Vikings.
Seahawks too?
Maybe at the end, but he was a Viking forever. Like it was him and like Keith Millard on that line and that whole late 80s, early 90s Viking team.
See him on the Seahawks?
He might have went there later, but I mean his main team was the Vikings, definitely. He said, quote, although he accepted it, and he said fine. He said that, teams won't take me lightly. I can play any position on a football team except maybe quarterback. That was the way he put it. Put me in there at wide receiver. I'll go play it.
Okay.
He said when it was over, he said the guy told him he might be in the Pro Bowl. And he said that he doesn't play. He doesn't care. He just wanted to play. Off the field, though, he's just living it up. He says, quote, "You could say I hung around the wrong people, but I think it was more the wrong people came around me.
Yeah.
I was green. I gave people the benefit of the doubt. I was trying to help them."
And in Tampa, that place is a party, man.
Oh, it is.
That can be a ruin of man in places like that. It's a port town.
Yeah.
It's a fucking
pirates and whores.
Yeah.
That's what we've said.
Yeah.
Pirates, whores, and roosters. That's what's going on there. It's a mess, that town.
It really is psychotic.
And when you do a live show there and you go, pirates and whores, they all cheer.
Yeah.
You're like,
that's us.
This town is different. This is a different kind of place. And then you're like, what are these roosters? And they're like, yeah.
Let's eat them.
Cheering about roosters. So he said, quote, "If you want to know where my addiction to painkillers started, it was right there in the locker room. I was on the road to becoming an addict the first week of being a paid professional. They said that they basically gave him pills all the time. He said there was an assumption made by me that whatever pills they were handing out to me were both safe and in my best interest."
Yeah.
Yeah, a team doctor, if you're 22, you think, oh, they're doing this because it must be what it is. He said that I took the cup of pills out of my locker and brought them to the training staff. He said they just left a cup of pills in his locker.
Oh, boy.
And he was like, did you put this in the wrong place? He said, hey, what am I supposed to do with those? He said, I never took pills before. He said he'd never even smoked weed at that point.
Really?
He'd never snorted a line of cocaine. He didn't even drink.
Okay.
He was just into football. He said these were a bunch of opiates in a little Dixie cup, basically. And they said, take them. They're going to help with the swelling and the pain. And, he said they were, to them, the way they said it, he said they thought they were no more dangerous than an aspirin.
Right.
Same shit.
It's like your mom saying, chew this.
Yeah, strong aspirin. Right. And they said, he said, can I get a prescription in case it's still bothering me over the weekend? And the trainer looked at him and said, you don't need a prescription. As long as you're with the team, we'll take care of it.
Oh, boy.
Not good.
No.
This is all bad. This is
enabling.
A lot of reasons why a lot of these guys are on pills and all fucked up still to this day. Now the 91 Bucks, they go 3-13.
Boy.
So not good. He had a few successes this year. He got 5 sacks. And, a guy from the New York Times said, considering the circumstances, McCants' first year was a success, despite having to learn an entirely new position, his first full year. So he did well. The coach at this point said, I think he's played a decent season. If you watch films, Keith is a producer.
Okay.
That's good. Now, it's at this point where needles start to come into play.
Hell yeah.
They start shooting them up.
Oh, my God.
He said, before our game against the Philadelphia Eagles, the team doctor asked me to drop my shorts. Oh, boy. The next thing I knew, he was giving me an injection in my right buttock. Well, that's actually lucky.
Yeah.
With a needle as long as my middle finger. Yikes.
Oh, fuck.
He said it immediately numbed me from the waist down. I tried to take a step, but I nearly fell to my knees. I took small steps to my locker. I was scared. I had never experienced anything like this before. Once I was on the field, I began to take a physical pounding. I was making tackles and my legs were twisted in all kinds of positions. Not good for your legs.
Fuck.
The strange thing is I wasn't feeling a thing.
Nothing.
You're numb. The coach decided to move me to my old spot at middle linebacker to keep an eye on Randall Cunningham, who used to be very mobile at that point, as he was running all over our team's defense. So they just put him out there and said, go run around and let your legs become...
Go out there and have with your numb leg and shred your knee.
Just twist your legs up like noodles. That's fine. No worries. So that year, he starts all 16 games, 54 tackles, and 5 sacks. So they said, fine, new position, he's learning. 92 Tampa, they go 5-11. This is when they brought Sam Weish in. Remember him from the Bengals in the 80s there. This year, in 92, he starts 15 out of 16 games.
Looks like Boomer and Phil Seam's dad.
Kind of, yeah. He kind of looks like Craig T. Nelson a little bit, too. It always reminded me of him. He has 58 tackles, 5 sacks, so kind of the same as the year before.
Yeah.
Not spectacular, not, terrible. 93 comes around. Training camp, Tampa Bay cuts him.
What?
They just cut him.
You got $10 million invested in this guy and they just cut him?
3 years.
Yeah.
Gone. I guess the deal he ended up getting that they report here is 5 years, $9.5 million. And then it was the bonus on top of that. And only the first 3 seasons are guaranteed, though. and he already played that. They waived him rather than pay $900,000 in salary this year. They shit-canned him. So within 48 hours, New England picks him up.
Okay.
And this is before New England was good, everybody, by the way. This was when they were a fucking laughingstock.
This is an awful helmet. This is bad.
Yeah, this is like right when they switched to that terrible silver shit that they fucking... I hate that silver shit.
Dumb fucking... It looks like a flag on their head.
It's so dumb. Yeah. I hate that helmet. Their old uniforms are terrible, but at least they look kind of funny and cheesy. Yeah. These just look like shit, the ones they've had.
The helmet of the old one is dumb as shit.
Yeah, obviously. That red pops. That red and white fucking pops.
It really screams.
Make the guy less like he wants it to take it in the ass from you, and it's fine. I don't get what the problem is. So, he's picked up by the New England, who had hired Ray Perkins as an offensive coordinator. So they were like, pick him up. So he said when he gets signed, this is a lot off my shoulders. The rumors had been spreading for some time now concerning my future with Tampa. So he played in a preseason game on the day he was signed against the Kansas City Chiefs, and then they released him.
Oh, no.
New England does, too. Not exactly what they were looking for.
Yeah.
So he goes to the Houston Oilers.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a team.
Yeah.
The Houston Oilers, who then turned into the Tennessee Titans, which they had. Fuck, I loved their helmets, the Oilers. They were cool as shit. Warren Moon. Nobody ever looked cooler than Warren Moon in an Oiler uniform.
Baby blue and white and red.
Man, like when they were like the white jerseys with the baby blue pants and the cool hat. He just looked like a bad motherfucker in that. He was cool. So he... Basically, he Buddy Ryan really liked him, and he liked Buddy Ryan.
Yeah.
So Ryan once joked that McCants was his third son, along with Rob and Rex Ryan, the two coaches.
Yeah.
Now the Oilers go 12-4 that year. So this is his first year with success.
Okay.
They do great. They go to the playoffs that year and play against the Kansas City Chiefs, who have Joe Montana at this point, and they lose to the Chiefs 28-20. Okay. So, this is the year where, I don't know if anybody remembers this, but there's footage of this, of Buddy Ryan and Kevin Gilbride, two coaches, both on the Oilers, getting into a fist fight with each other in the sideline. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Buddy Ryan throwing an old man punch at him.
Throwing an awful old man punch.
McCants is the guy in the middle of them.
Oh, no
that
kidding.
steps in between them. That's McCants, okay? He's right fucking there.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, chill out. That's
you guys
him.
are going to hurt each other. You're going to hurt yourselves. Let's be honest.
Yeah. This is the defensive coordinator punched the offensive coordinator in the face following a fumble. The team fumbled. He's like, you son of a bitch. Like he dropped the ball. So
told you it was a dumb play.
Yeah. So anyway, about the playoffs, McCants says, let me tell you, this is something big. This is big time. This is football. I haven't had a winning season since I left college, and it feels great to win again.
Yeah.
I bet. Now, Joe Montana, we're going to talk about here, who you should know Joe Montana is just by, even if you're not a football fan. He's
probably the second best quarterback ever.
Maybe the best. We don't know. I thought he's too fragile, just like the one everybody else thinks is great, too. Tom Brady, if you hit him once, he breaks. Right. Sorry, he's made of crystal. Right. And I don't care what anybody says. Everybody's been, 7 times. I don't care if he has 48 rings. I don't care if he plays till he's 96 years old and wins every year until then. He's the most boring quarterback I've ever watched in the history of professional football. I swear to Christ, I would rather watch Phil Simms quarterback every team than watch Tom Brady. He's so fucking boring.
Yeah.
Everything he does is boring. I would rather watch fucking footage of Dan Marino throwing 12 interceptions than fucking watch Tom Brady put together the greatest drive in football history. It's so fucking boring.
Well, he kisses children on the mouth.
Yeah, he takes no chances. Yeah. He's the most boring quarterback. He's really great. Yes, if you don't like watching football, he's fantastic. If you just like seeing the results and looking at the stat line and going, yeah, they won, great. Terrific.
If you like fantasy football, good for you.
Fuck me, so fucking boring. I get that he's great because he wins, whatever, but he's boring. At least Joe Montana even was exciting.
Yeah.
Still very fragile. Yeah. I think Tom Brady's been hit twice in his career, and he was out the whole year both times.
One time he got, I saw one smash. He fucking got his head taken off.
Good.
And he bounced back up, but I guarantee he's not right.
No, but I mean that one shot in the knee, and then he was out for a year. He never gets hit, and when he does, he is terrible. So that's how it works.
So much money.
And he makes a ton of money, and he wins. So, I mean, of course he makes a ton of money. Why wouldn't he? And so he says here in this playoff game against Joe Montana, he doesn't name Joe Montana, but he says that one case that stands out in my mind involved an offer of $250,000 cash under the table from the team to, quote, knock a top-flight quarterback out of a game during the playoffs.
Wow.
He's only played in one playoff game, and Montana's the quarterback, so he's talking about Montana.
Yeah.
He said the exact quote made to me behind closed doors went something like this: I don't care if you have to break that motherfucker's back on his way to the huddle, you get him out of the game. And this is extremely common.
Yeah.
He talks about that happened all the time.
Right. Bounty Gate's not a one-off.
No, it's just how football was played. They were just the first to.
It's just a one-off that got caught.
Exactly. It's how it's played. He said, I told the coach straight up that I was looking at a suspension and a fine from the NFL, and if they wanted me to take out a future Hall of Fame quarterback with a hit, it would cost them $300,000 cash and nothing less. Their response was, it's a deal. So he said, I tried like hell to get to the quarterback that day, but I just couldn't get there. I got my ass kicked with 2 and 3 people blocking me. So that year he doesn't start at all. He plays in 13 games and he has 4 tackles.
He's a hockey goon.
That's it.
That's what they hired him for.
Go out there.
Yeah.
94, he plays 5 games for Houston, or 4 games for Houston.
Yeah.
And then he goes to the Cardinals.
Okay.
Because Buddy Ryan gets hired as the quarterback, as the coach. And if you remember, there was billboards.
Yeah.
They made it like, now it's different.
Right.
Now it's time.
Now we got hard-nosed football.
They called it Buddy Ball.
Yeah.
They had huge billboards that said Buddy Ball is here. And what does that mean? Going fucking 8-8?
It didn't matter.
Yeah. So they pick him up, and in a game against the Bears, he picked off a Steve Walsh pass and ran it back 46 yards for a touchdown.
Awesome.
So that was a cool deal, and he was very proud of that. Plays 8 games there. 95, he plays for the Cardinals again. They go 4-12. Yeah. Because Buddy Ryan wasn't as good of a head coach as they thought he was.
Because the Cardinals are perpetually shitty.
Well, yeah, they had Dave Craig as their starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Dave Craig, Mike Buck, and Stoney Case are their quarterbacks.
My God.
There you go.
Today's Cardinals are so much fun to watch, though.
I can't stand them.
I
They're
love
so
that. That Buda Baker is fucking lights out.
I just want them to lose 75-0 in every fucking game.
I love that they're stacking their defense finally. They've never done that.
I don't care what they do. I hate them. I hate their boring stadium that looks like a fucking mall. I hate the whole fucking team. Nobody here. Have them have 2 4-12 seasons, and that place will be half fucking empty again, just like it always was. Fuck this place and all their teams except the Suns.
Crowded for the Cowboys, and that's it.
And the Packers and the Bears and everybody
Raiders.
else.
Right.
It doesn't fucking matter.
Right.
They're like, what's funny is I just talked a whole bunch of shit about Tom Brady, and everyone knows I hate the Patriots that listens to this show. The greatest game I ever saw was watching the Patriots kick the shit out of the Cardinals like 51-3 in the snow. In like 2010 or something, watching Kurt Warner slide all around or whatever the fuck it was. I don't remember, 07 or some shit, 08, whatever. It was great. So I found out, wow, I don't hate the Patriots the most. I hate the Cardinals the most because I was cheering the whole time watching them get pummeled. Not a good team. Rob Moore, Larry Centers, Garrison Hurst. That's pretty much all they had.
Larry Centers was good.
He was real good. Garrison Hurst was fucking great on every team except the Cardinals.
Right.
He was terrific.
I remember when they brought him here and everybody was jacked, and then he shit the bed.
And then he went to San Fran. It was fan-fucking-tastic.
Right there.
It's here. It was here. That was the problem.
Larry Centers, they wasted that guy's poor talent.
Oh, he was so good. He was all they had for a while. They were just throwing to him all the time. He had like 100 catches one year as a fullback or something crazy, 80 catches.
And then Ricky Prohl, too. Then that guy ended up leaving and going somewhere and did fine.
That's
Little
true.
white guy did fine somewhere else.
Yeah, he was St. Louis. He went to the greatest show on turf, and he was a bad motherfucker. Joined that with Holt and Bruce and all those guys. Yeah. So that year he plays in 16 games in Arizona, has the touchdown, doesn't have that many tackles, half a sack.
Yeah.
Not doing well here. Ends up, that's about it for his career.
Oh, boy.
So his whole career, 88 games he played in, started 39. He has 192 tackles, 13 and a half sacks. It's his whole career.
That's not great.
December 27th, 1995, he is arrested for speeding. Too much speeding. Very fast. I believe this was in Arizona, or in Florida.
Okay.
This was. So his career is over.
Yep.
And he says people who don't understand the game, people who understand the game, people who watch film know I wasn't a bust. I got double teamed a lot, and other people made all the plays. I switch positions. They call me a bust. I played 6 seasons on one leg. I think that's remarkable. I was always hurt. I was so shot up all the time. Without the dope, I couldn't play. My body was so wrecked, so I didn't want that needle anymore. I was ready to leave the game. Yikes. What I regret most is moving to defensive end and changing my position. I wasn't able to display my true talent and the speed I had going sideline to sideline. That's where I was really explosive. They put me at defensive end and teams targeted me because they always knew I was hurt, which makes sense. Buddy Ryan said, quote, "This young man played on one leg for 6 years. It was incredible," which is true. Yeah. He needed a mentor at this point. One of his, the Mobile Press Register reporter named Darren Patterson said, "I don't know if Keith had a mentor. He had a mentor who could have simply simplified things for him and kept him on the right path. He might have been a real success in the pros."
Okay.
He just kind of was left on his own.
Well, what the fuck, Emmett?
Yeah, and yeah, no shit. You needed advice. And, dude, the other thing is once you retire, even if you're very successful, guys get bored.
Yeah.
They get really bored, and that's another problem. If they don't have something lined up to do, what do you do besides piss money away and
go scuba diving?
Yeah. This is a crazy story. I just wanted to put this in of a bored guy. Troy Vincent, who was a retired defensive back for a lot of teams, including the Patriots. He says that he killed time after that by washing clothes every single day until his wife told him that normal people don't do the laundry every day. And so the guy says, this is a reporter covering it, quote, "So he started cutting the lawn 3 times a week. He literally didn't know what else to do. I guess I cut the lawn every day now. I don't know. I need something to fucking do."
Holy shit.
Keith at one point said he was doing about 120 pills a week at the height of his addiction, which isn't bad compared to wrestlers who I've heard plenty of say they were doing 150 a day, like Raven.
Is he doing this after football?
Yes, during and after. He said, "Biggest regret was taking the painkillers. I thought it was switching positions. Right. Not knowing the effects it would have on me later. That's the biggest regret."
That's what he regrets.
Yeah, he didn't know. Yeah. Another one is taking a pay cut to leave Tampa to go to other teams and get paid to give a guy a concussion under the table and not knowing concussions were killing people. He said, "That was the biggest regret of my life. It made me so sick to my stomach. I helped promote the movie Concussion with Will Smith when I saw what was going on. I was paid money to give concussions, and I received them as I gave them. I suffer from slight dementia as we speak. Losing your memory, can't hardly walk, can't hardly talk, don't know who people are anymore. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, and that's the biggest regret of my entire career."
He's got so many regrets that are the biggest.
So many. He probably doesn't remember what he said before.
Right.
And in that Broke documentary, he is the hardest to understand.
Really?
Speaking wise. He's got to realize his talk's kind of... some of it is Southern Alabama.
Right, yeah.
But some of it is, a lot of it is, he just kind of mumbles. He just mumbles his brain. You can tell sounds like a boxer.
Yeah.
Is what he sounds like. And he's also, when he's on it, you're like, how many pills are you on right now,
he's
dude?
Slurring too.
Oh, he's on something. When he's talking, he's like, he's signing bonus in history. No. I just went out, threw it all away. You could see the way his hand gestures are. He looks wasted. He said the National Football League can do anything they want to. When they was giving me drugs, I had millions of people rooting for me. But when I got them on my own because I couldn't afford them, I'm the biggest criminal in the world.
It's got a point.
That's a great fucking point. At one point, he needed money for medical shit, and he said that he called the NFL Players Association and to confirm what people had told him. He said the NFL believed I was a drug addict. The call quickly turned into a hostile conversation. I wasn't about to pull any punches. Quote, as we said to the Players Association, "If I'm a drug addict, it's because the NFL made me a drug addict. You fed me pills, and when that stopped working, you gave me shots in my legs, my ass, and everywhere else that was hurting. I didn't ask for that. It was either take the shots or get cut from the team. If the NFL thought I was addicted to drugs then, why didn't they put me in drug rehab? I gave up my health for them, and now they're turning their back on me. That's bullshit."
Yeah.
So somebody said something back to him, and his response is, quote, "Okay, motherfucker." which I love.
Yeah.
I'll tell you how we're going to handle this. How about I come up to your office in New York or where in the fuck you're at, and I start killing everybody in that joint if I don't get my money. And when I'm done, and when that's done, I'll blow out my fucking brains. Maybe the NFL will take the next guy seriously then and not make them go through all the bullshit I had to go through.
Oh, he is at the end of his rope?
He's got nothing else to lose at this point. And he's on drugs. He's hurting. He's pissed. His whole career's gone. He's fucking upset. God. He said that he got hung up on there. And he said, I immediately went to where, this is a quote from his book, I immediately went to where I kept my gun and stuck it in my pocket. Mm-hmm. I grabbed my car keys out of a dish that sat on top of an entry table in the entrance. I was 2 steps from making it out the front door when 2 of my friends who were in the house at the time stopped me. One friend in between me and the front door, while the other friend put a bear hug on me from behind. Before I knew it, I was wrestled to the ground and the gun and the keys had been taken away from me. In my current physical state, I was no match for the 2 of them. They leaned their body weight on me and pinned me to the floor. That's fucked. This poor guy. I feel for the guy.
Yeah.
He's one of the guys who's like, they did this to me. Right. Some guys don't even realize that that's what happened, and he at least realizes it. He said that all the money, he said he spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on his own medical expenses too. He said, I shouldn't have, but I was given no choice. The NFL rejected my claims and I couldn't delay getting the medical attention that I needed. I spent so much money on my own medical bills that my home in Tampa went into foreclosure.
Oh no.
That is fucking horrible. He said his financial situation worsened. My savings were being exhausted as I tried to keep up with my medical needs. I started selling my possessions. First, it was my Rolex watches, then my jewelry. Eventually, it was my cars, and later on, my soul. Jesus. My house in Tampa was lost to foreclosure. In the end, I was forced to move back to my hometown of Mobile, Alabama. I would be living in the home that I purchased for my mom way back when I was a rookie. Life had come full circle for me in a way. Soon that circle would turn into a spiral for me, a spiral that I would follow all the way down.
Oh no, Mom doesn't have that house anymore.
Well, for now she does.
Yeah.
Next up is crack.
Yeah. Oh God, Jesus.
Yep. He said he didn't realize he was in the midst of a dark depression at the time. Now he does. And he said he didn't care. He said he was in no mood to explain why he was living back in Mobile. He said people would see him in like a shitty car and they'd be like, Keith, what the fuck, man? What's going on?
Came back home, dog.
Yeah, what you doing? And he said that he would hide in a black room with thick, heavy drapes and hide in a room. And then, quote, it was on New Jersey Street where I first puffed on a crack pipe. Weeks after being shuttered inside my mother's house, she talked me into borrowing my sister's car and taking it out for a drive. So he took it over to a friend's house, and he was sitting there, and he said there was a woman there hanging out, and she said, what's the matter, baby? Where does it hurt? And he said, the pretty little lady with the soft and sexy voice asked me, and he said, where doesn't it hurt? And he said she reached down with her hand and began to rub up and down on my knee gently. Does that hurt? And he said, you're rubbing it doesn't hurt. It hurts on its own. He said, quote, the stranger lifted a pipe and held the lighter to the end, unlit. It was red until it was red and glowing. Here, baby, try this. It'll make it feel better.
Yeah, suck, motherfucker.
Yeah. I was never into marijuana, but as bad as my knee felt, I grabbed the pipe and sucked out a thick white cloud of smoke and pulled it into my lungs. As much as I had experienced already in my short life, I thought I was puffing on some herb. He thought it was weed, he said, because he just didn't know drugs that well. He was naive. Crack cocaine is an insidious and evil monster. Unfortunately, I fell headfirst in love with her.
Yeah, she's hot.
Boy, she is a sexy.
She's an evil monster. Look at those tits on her.
Oh, she's got tits and ass, and she's like giving you the come here. The truth of the matter is I didn't even know I was smoking crack. Yeah, the first time I took a hit of the crack pipe, I thought I was smoking marijuana. Let me tell you, it felt great. Never heard anybody say smoking crack wasn't wonderful. That's the thing. They're like, first time I smoked crack, man, was it good. Holy shit. It was the best.
It looks terrible while you're doing it. It sure doesn't look good.
It smells gross.
That looks bad as fuck.
Not good, but man, does it feel good, apparently. For the first time in a long time, the pain in my knee evaporated. Okay. I hallucinated for a few minutes. Wow. I watched the pain in my knee grow wings and take flight.
This is going to be a problem.
It stood on my kneecap, launched itself into the air with the grace of a butterfly, and then disappeared through a nicotine-stained wall. Wow.
That's a great place.
This wasn't the beginning of my downward spiral. My life started unraveling long before I fell in love with crack. Oh, that's good. Since my retirement from the NFL, I had spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on medical treatment and months upon months in rehabilitation. Repairs to my knees and elbow left me lying in bed for days at a time. Crack turned out to be a flirtatious little beast.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And she summoned me toward the doorway to eternal damnation. Wow. Usually leaving somewhere you don't want to be is as easy as turning around and going back the same way you came in. I closed my eyes. A massive feeling of total serenity took over. It was better than any pain medication I'd ever been injected with or any alcoholic beverage I'd ever drunk. It was damn near an out-of-body experience. I was pain-free, calm, and peaceful. I opened my eyes to find the pretty little lady beside me staring at me with a look of amazement. He said, quote, "Damn, I never smoked any weed like that before." And he said she had a gigantic smirk as if she was in on a joke nobody else knew.
Yeah.
She is. She said, quote, "That wasn't weed, baby. That's crack cocaine."
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Ain't it the shit?
Yeah. He said that it was a first. He said crack cocaine was a poor man's drug as far as I knew. Well, you're poor now, motherfucker. That's why. You borrowed your sister's car to go smoke crack with a stranger.
That's not below you, sir.
No. Yeah, but he said he felt good, and he said I asked the girl if I could hit the pipe again. She happily handed it back to me and held the flame up to the round bowl. He said this time I took 2 deep puffs in hopes the pain would subside for a little while longer than it did the first time. The pain vanished, but eventually it returned. I took another hit from the crack pipe. That was the way the rest of the night went. A steady mixture of drugs and alcohol. I barely remember the trip home. I woke up to cotton mouth and a severely swollen knee. Yeah, because he's been walking on it.
Right.
He said the first thing that crossed my mind was finding my way back to that pretty little lady that held the magic elixir. Whoa, I was craving that hit of that crack, but I was stuck at my mother's house. I went through my luggage and found a few pain pills that were left over. They would have to do for now. 2 weeks passed. I still couldn't get my mind off the crack I smoked. To get a new prescription for a pain medication from a doctor meant I would have to get a complete physical, x-rays, and blood work. My finances were in shambles. Getting legit pain medication prescription was out of the question. I now had another option. I could go back to New Jersey Street and find the lady I had met at my friend's house. It was a lot less of a hassle and less expensive.
You bet.
He said a parasitic little vamp named Crack had slithered inside of me, and getting her to leave was not going to be easy. I would say.
Yep.
Things got so bad financially. In 1999, he's arrested and for bouncing checks. Court records show he bounced 34 checks in a matter of 3 days in 1999.
That's not an accident.
34. No, he went on a spree.
Yeah.
34 checks.
That's a lot.
That's just saying, I'm fucking sick of living like this. I'm just going to fucking live well for a couple days. I don't care. I'm just doing it because it feels good,
34 checks.
34. Think about how much shit that is.
What? And do you buy all the stuff and then just return it, or what do you do?
He was just, I don't know if he was just trying to act like everything was fine again, or I don't know what. 2000. Oh, man. The state of Alabama seizes his mother's home because of unpaid taxes.
Yeah.
That's when your mother's house that you bought for her gets seized, that's when you're fucked.
That's the end.
And by the way, when you buy a 9,000 square foot house on 40 acres, you then have to pay taxes on that forever.
That's so much.
Yeah, put that money aside for a while because you're going to need to pay. Mom can't pay for it. So December 10th, 2004 comes around. So he's not doing well here. No. From there to there. He's arrested in a car here, and this is not good. Well, he's not arrested in a car. He's arrested because of a car.
Oh.
He's indicted on a charge that he stole a vehicle from a car dealership. We haven't had this happen to an athlete or do this since Eddie Johnson, who was arrested over 100 times and probably loves crack more than anybody we've ever done on a Crime and Sports episode. Eddie Johnson did this with a Porsche. He just took off and never fucking came back. Apparently he did this as well. Keith does. They arrest him on December 4th for failure to return a 1998 Lincoln Navigator, a 6-year-old car, taken on a test drive from Cottage Hills Motors in Mobile.
Yeah.
It was later recovered abandoned. He just left it somewhere.
He just needed a ride somewhere.
No, he had a car. That's the fucked up part. His lawyer said his client was allowed to drive the car from the lot. He says, quote, he kept it longer than he was supposed to. The car broke down at a particular location, and he called them. They still charged him. That's the lawyer's thing here. The car dealership's general manager said the police were called when McCants didn't return the vehicle after 3 hours. Too long. Can't have it for that long.
Longer than he's supposed to.
That's not
3-hour test drive.
What's the point where they go, he's not coming back?
Right.
What's the point until it's
20 minutes, right?
An hour's like, he must love the car.
Right.
I bet he's going to buy this thing.
There's
All right.
a sale.
You're high-fiving.
Right.
Hour and a half, you're like, he probably stopped maybe for something to eat. Maybe he's showing people, see if they like it so he can buy it.
Yeah.
By 2 hours, you have to go, he's not coming back, is he?
It's over.
I don't think he's coming. I think we got to find him.
Should we call the cops?
Do we call someone?
I don't think we're getting that car back.
Yeah. And his lawyer said, we know Keith, or I'm sorry, this is the dealership's general manager.
They know his name. They know everything about him.
Yeah, he's bought cars there before.
Yeah.
He said, we know Keith. We all like him. It's just not like we said, here, Keith, go take this car and don't bring it back.
Yeah.
He just didn't bring it back. And he left a Ford Explorer in their lot.
You guys hang on to that.
So he left that there.
Yeah.
Like, what was he thinking?
It's the little Ford. He wanted the big one.
Yeah, but this one was repossessed by another dealership at the time. So they were trying to repossess it to find it. So it was it was foreclosed upon basically for non-payment. Not terrific. Lincoln Navigator, Jesus Christ. He was indicted by a grand jury and later pleaded guilty to unauthorized use of a motor vehicle.
It's theft, isn't it? Isn't that grand theft?
I think that they probably didn't want to press it.
Yeah.
I think the dealership felt bad for him because they knew him, so they gave him the unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. It's like, you borrowed it without technical permission.
Right.
Because he didn't steal it.
No.
But Eddie Johnson took it and went away.
He just didn't get permission to hang on to it all goddamn day.
Yeah, I feel like that's if they feel bad for you, you're getting that charge. Mm-hmm. So it feels like doing that, it can't get any lower for him, you know?
Pretty low.
Except it gets a lot lower. Mid-2000s, this is described from the Tampa Tribune article. There was a time when he roamed the streets not knowing his name, sleeping in cars, eating out of garbage cans, showering in gas stations, wondering where he belonged. Jesus fucking Christ,
that
man.
guy broke up a Buddy Ryan fight.
Yeah. That's in
eating
uniform.
Out of trash cans.
He hung out with Warren Moon, for Christ's sake. I mean, Jesus, fuck, man. Mobile County Sheriff Sam Cochran, who was formerly the city's police chief, said it was some crazy stuff that people here had never seen from him when he was growing up. It was a huge surprise from him. It's really no longer a surprise. I don't want to say people are numb to it, but it all kind of blends together at this point. So they're saying we expect him to be a fuck up at this point. It's been 10 years. Right. He's got a lot of problems. February of 2008. Jesus Christ. Police find him in a dilapidated building near downtown Mobile when they raid. It's like a crack house.
Drug spot. Yeah.
It's a crack house. Yeah. He is in possession of a crack pipe in a back room somewhere. Right. They find him. He's charged with possession of drug paraphernalia and loitering for the purpose of drug activity. And apparently this house had been a subject of repeated complaints of drug activity. Yeah. It's a fucking crack house. Mm-hmm. He served several days in March in the Chickasaw City Jail in lieu of a fine levied against him for driving without insurance. Mm-hmm. He, from now on, by the way, never has a license, never has insurance.
No, he can't afford to fix it.
No.
Yeah.
It's so much, it adds up.
Yeah.
You're right. March 30th, 2008. This is bottom tier. We have grace. Yeah. This is rock bottom here. Yeah. This is as bad as it gets. March 30th, 2008. He is flagging down drivers with, I'll read the papers thing. He is panhandling in the company of two apparent prostitutes, flagging down drivers along U.S. Route 45.
What is he trying to do?
Flag down people and ask them for shit.
Right.
Literally.
Is he trying to get cash to fuck these hookers?
No, I think they all hang out.
Yeah.
They're all looking for smoking crack together. Yeah. So it's a highway. That's a bad pitch.
You can't do that.
You do while people are walking outside of a store. Right. When someone's driving by at 70 miles an hour, they don't go, I'm going to stop and give him money.
Right.
Hold on, let me slow down. The police they had to subdue him with a taser gun.
God damn it.
They had to tase him, and they saw him panhandling, like we said. This is fucked up. The reason why they had to tase him, though, was because he had a pair of pliers, a screwdriver, and a crack pipe. He held them all and eventually threw them at the officer.
It's a sweet little toolbox.
He threw a crack pipe at the officer, then pliers, then a screwdriver, and I guess the screwdriver almost hit the cop in the head, and then the cop tased him, and that was that. Yeah. So he's taken in on charges of possession of drug paraphernalia for throwing a crack pipe at a police officer. I'm surprised that's not an extra charge. Like, if you try to assault a police officer, that's a charge. But if you do it with a crack pipe, I feel like that should be extra.
Really anything that's illegal.
But a crack pipe especially. Yeah. Like, come on. He didn't even have it in his pocket. He's like, fucking pal, I'm looking for anything to throw at you. How about this illegal thing I'll be arrested for? So he's arrested for resisting arrest, loitering, all misdemeanors, drug paraphernalia. He remained in jail. It was 7:45 at night, basically, and that was that. So Keith's that's as low as it gets, man. I mean, Jesus Christ. This guy...
How do you recover from this?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, he could be anywhere at any time, just sitting there doing anything. I mean, Jesus Christ. Somebody needs to take, like, something with him, an interest, a pity, fucking anything.
Take him to a group.
At this point, who cares if it's even, pity? Who gives a shit? Just take it. I mean, anybody, like possibly, I don't know, my grandmother, Italian grandma. If Keith ran into her, she would say... Ma, how is it you've come to arrive here? Yeah. Why are you here? Ma, you have... I read the paper, the thing, you have so much money. You have everything. And now you have the prostitute with the pen. Why you do that? No, I don't have no $5. I give you, here I make food for you, but that I not give for you. Well, why? Why you do that? I don't know. You're such a handsome man. You're very handsome, shiny, like the skin of the seal. Wonderful. I know. Oh, you break my heart. Please. Why? No, you can't. No, you can't borrow my car either. I'm sorry. I can't give to you. No, you not bring back. I can't. Poof. And she's gone. And Keith is very confused. Yeah. She's gone in a cloud of marinara sauce and confusion.
And brandy.
And whiskey. She likes whiskey.
Really?
Oh, grandma in her old age likes whiskey.
It's a thing now?
That's it.
Is that a new thing?
No, the last 2 years, I buy her a really good bottle of whiskey every few months. I'll buy it for her because that's what she drinks when she goes to bed now.
Good for her.
She never drank anything but wine in her fucking life, or a little amaretto maybe or something. And she said, Ma, I like some whiskey before I go to sleep. She's like, I know, you shouldn't drink it every night. You're 93, lady. Drink
it all day.
Who cares? Drink the whiskey. But yeah, she has a couple of shots before she goes to bed at night, which is great.
Hilarious.
She made me hide the one bottle from my aunt's husband, Pat. Because as she put it, she said, put it over here. Put it behind in the cabinet, behind there. And I said, why, Grandma? And she points to Pat and goes, Irish. But dead serious. He's going to drink it.
He'll steal it because he's
Irish.
a drunk.
It's just Irish. Makes a face. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Okay, fine. She meant it, though.
Yeah.
I think she's just drinking it and forgetting about it because she's 100. So
she should have pointed at her own chest. Irish.
Irish, yeah. No, just likes booze.
Put it back here. I got to hide it because I'm Irish.
That's right. Jesus Christ. So at this point, people this is a very public arrest, and people who knew him go, Jesus, this is too much, man. Come on.
Is there another NFL player that's done this apart from
guys you've never, not top 10 draft picks, probably, not a lot of them.
The Raiders quarterback running from the cops.
Yeah, Marinovich.
Yeah.
How
high was he drafted?
I mean, pretty high, but fuck, man. I mean, this is a pretty similar situation, honestly. It is close. I think his might have been even more pathetic. Because remember, he was nude on people's porches and shit. Everything that Keith has done.
So far, I haven't heard a cop go, Keith, stop.
Keith, we know you're fucking. But the car dealership go, Keith, bring our car back. We know you.
This is a mirror image.
Yeah, so I feel like Todd's worse. Because the other thing is, everything Keith does is just a problem for him. He's not hurting other people ever. It's all self-inflicted, which also he's got injuries. He never got therapy for being fucking molested. He's got a lot of problems here. A friend of his, though, or not a friend of his, a guy named Paul Souza, who was his principal at Murphy High School, gathered a dozen Mobile community leaders And Sousa really liked McCants, and he said he was never a disciplinary problem. He was always a really nice kid. And and for this to go so wrong, he really felt terrible. And he said, we wanted to get him some work, but he's really not able to do much work because of his physical state. He said he couldn't even get up and down out of a chair, and he couldn't get another type of job because people knew about the drugs. Just when things seem to be going well, he falls back, usually because of the drugs. It's a hard, hard road. Yeah, no shit. Yeah. He says about all this, quote, how did this happen? I'll tell you how this happens. You want to kill the pain. You're out of the NFL. They throw you out the door, and those expensive prescriptions are gone. They take away your health insurance. The next best thing is street drugs because you're desperate for the pain to go away.
And you can't get those, so you resort to something that's less.
Whatever you can get your hands on. I didn't indulge in drugs to get high. I wanted to moderate my pain. It didn't go away totally, but it felt better. I could get out of bed, go to the store. One thing leads to another. You end up going to jail. Your picture is on TV. You get ridiculed, ripped apart. You just wanted your pain to stop. That's how it happens. And we've heard that how many times, man?
It's cyclical, man.
Yeah. April 2010, he's arrested trying to buy crack at a sleazy motel.
Of course he is.
In a kind of like a sting operation deal. Arrested there. November 17th, 2010, he's arrested for failure to obey a traffic signal and no seatbelt, also no license, and
Shouldn't even be doing this anyway.
Anything else that you need to drive a car, I'm sure.
Get crack.
You know, crack?
Yeah.
No, that's a wrong answer. Come on, Keith. Keith, we know who you are now. It's fine. Late 2010, he moves back. He moved to the Tampa area again, but I guess he has a wife still in Mobile, which is weird. He leaves his wife in Mobile. He's divorced twice and has 4 kids soon here, too. So he's got that going on. November 30th, 2010, he's arrested for speeding in a school zone, which they're not great. Less than 2 weeks later, December 8th, 2010, he's coming out of a strip club called Tina's House of Angels, which we've heard a lot of stories that start out with, and then he was pulling out of a strip club before he got pulled over.
Right.
And we usually try to get the names. That's a particularly good one.
It's pretty solid.
Tina's House of Angels. No one is Tina's House of Angels. No one else's.
Tina's got the right idea. Those are angels.
Those are angels here. He is pulled over for failure to yield coming out of a parking lot of the strip club, and he's arrested. They stop him, and they find a crack pipe in the center console of his 99 Chevy Tahoe.
God damn it.
In 2010. The police also... 99, which is fine, but not if you're a number 4 draft pick. Police also found one piece of crack in the purse of his female passenger. So they were probably going to smoke crack, I assume. He was taken to the jail, $2,000 bail. Blah, blah, blah. Taken to the jail, put on bail. There's that. February 5th, 2011, here, which is, Jesus Christ, less than 2 months later.
In 5 months, he has had so much police interaction.
It really picks up from here. February 5th, 2011, he's arrested for possession of cocaine and resisting arrest without violence. He removed identification from his pocket during a police stop, and the cop noticed a bag of coke fall out. When he took his ID out.
You put your coke with your ID?
Right. Put your coke somewhere separate. Yeah. So they were like, oh, you're arrested.
Yeah.
When they attempted to handcuff him, he pulled away and fled. He walks with a cane.
Oh,
I don't know how fucking fast he was trying to. You don't even. What are you charging him for that? He's not getting away.
You don't play in the NFL because you can't.
No.
Run. We know you're not getting away.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're the cop, what do you have to do? Walk behind him and fucking grab him and shove him to the Don't charge him with anything for that. That's just silly. Be like, dude,
there's no way he's
Keith,
getting away.
Come on, man.
Don't make me run.
For fuck, Keith, don't make me fucking run.
Keith, you make me jog, I'm going to kick your ass.
Keith, I'm going to kick that fucking cane out from under you if you don't stop right now.
Stop
Other than that,
making me jog.
What do you do? April 23rd, 2011, a couple months later, he is arrested on a cocaine possession charge here. He's also booked on a charge of resisting an officer as well. In addition to that, once they get him in there, they find out that he is also wanted on a fugitive warrant from Mobile, Alabama, for guess what?
Possession.
Failure to appear on a controlled substance charge. Yeah. So a lot of problems here. This is when he pleads guilty in both the December 2010 and February 2011 cases.
Okay.
They just mush it into one. He pleads guilty here, and he's gonna do all of that. The judge withheld adjudication and sentenced him to the 15 or 16 days he had already served there. But he remains in jail after that on the fugitive warrant for Mobile, where he didn't appear the year before on a substance abuse charge. So maybe that's why he moved to Tampa also. That was the same time he came to Tampa.
He's got so many troubles and problems right now. There's no way to get out of this.
No, it's just
from now it's just the system.
You can't get out. You're just in that fucking
there's no
hole.
There's no way to build back out.
No, you're like in a well. You're like the kid in the well.
Yeah.
There's no I think his head's too big to get him back up.
Oh man.
Former teammate of his here, Ian Beckles, who was also drafted in 1990. He says, I don't know much about the demons that Keith is fighting. It's scary to see all of this. It's easy for people to judge him and say he's done all this stupid stuff, but he has a disease. I just know that deep down, he's not a bad guy. Maybe a very naive guy, but not a bad guy. That's the whole vibe I get off of all of this.
Yeah.
Is he was not ready for any of this, and which I mean is nobody's fucking fault, I guess, but it's also kind of not his either. So it's hard to really, you know what I'm saying? He's never like, I'm the best and I know what I'm doing. He's always like, shit, I think I'm fucking up.
And he's to his own debt. Not even I don't even know how to describe it, but he was dealt a hand already that
it's tough.
Yeah,
he can't help
that set him back several years before. Anyway, he's just a late bloomer that's even later blooming because he's got so much trauma from childhood.
That's a fucking fact, man. You're right, absolutely. Now, his attorney says that he said basically this whole thing could change if he would commit to a rehab program for probably a year. So it would probably take a year to like
get his life towards the right track.
Yeah, he's got to do a complete, like, he can't just go in and come back out again. It's not going to happen. He also says, quote, if he solves his life problems, he solves his legal problems. It's people and places. Unfortunately, Keith has been hanging out with some people who are horribly negative influence, and crack has been involved.
Yeah.
That's always bad.
In bad places.
Yeah. Until he gets different people and places, history is going to repeat itself. Mm-hmm. I would say so. So at this point, he is in the Pinellas County Jail.
All right.
And from jail, he does an interview here. And let's do it in their own words,
Great.
Shall we?
Yeah.
In their own words, quote, I wish I never had any money. I would have been great without money. It's a sad story, but it's a true story. Money destroyed everything around me and everything I care for, my family, my so-called friends. I just want enough to live on. I never want to be rich again.
Cream, baby.
I never want to be rich again. He feels like it was like a...
It ruled him. It ruined everything. Cash ruins everything
Cash
around
ruins
me.
everything around me. Fuck yeah, it does. So, yeah, he's a goddamn mess. He's trying to talk to his kids at this point and having a hard time.
Of course.
He enters into the drug rehab program at St. Petersburg Solid Rock Ministries, and he says, quote, I'm trying, really I am.
That's a good start.
I believe him. At this point, he doesn't think he's a drug addict anymore.
Oh, my God.
All cleaned up.
Yeah. Jesus saves.
That's all. He says, I'm clean, and I don't believe I have a drug addiction problem.
Didn't they tell him that? How do you go to a place that treats you, and how does that treatment place not say forever you have a problem?
I don't know if they just did it with Jesus or what, because it's a ministry. I don't know if they gave him like medical. I don't know if it was just in the ministry, or if it was like a medical thing, or if they were just like, believe in Jesus and you don't have a drug problem. I'm not sure what they're doing. I don't mean to besmirch them if they're doing good work. He says, quote, I have a sex addiction. Now that's what he's addicted to, he says. God damn. I didn't really want to get into that, but that's it. What people do for drugs, I do for sex. Drugs just happen to be in it. I've been messing with women who did drugs. Sometimes I took the rap for them and ended up in jail. I'm not saying what I did was right, but that's what happened. For all this to go away, I know I've got to change everything about me. Yeah. Very true. May 15th, 2011. This is an article. This is from that Tampa Tribune article. Quote, he walks with a cane. He said he's been diagnosed with clinical depression and early stages of dementia. Sometimes he can't recognize family members. More than once he's considered suicide. He's 43 years old. Put that into perspective. for a second.
Shit. They just described a 72-year-old man and then said
was having a hard time.
47 years old.
And then 43.
42. Holy shit.
Mm-hmm. Think about that.
No.
You should be feeling great right now. Yeah, a little sore. I mean, my
40s
back's
is
sore.
supposed to be your best.
You should be good. Your mind still should be fresh and your body should be decent enough. He says at this point he's had 29 surgeries.
Yeah.
29. Many on his knees. Also 6 concussions as well, which is 6 he knows about.
Right. He's had more.
Yeah. He said he had an addiction to painkillers, which led to cocaine use. He tells his story. He says that eventually he believes he'll have Alzheimer's from the early stages of dementia. He says he wants to go see his mother, who was in the hospital recently. He says he's fighting against time and time he wants to spend with his children and the whole thing. He doesn't know how much time he has. His son, he said at that point, was nearing high school graduation. His daughter is a professional model and another daughter is a tennis player, like in school. So, yeah. He said that at one point here, the reporter reminded him of a game at Auburn in '89, the one where he had 18 tackles and an interception and caused a fumble and prevented a touchdown with a field-length chase and catch of one of their wide receivers who had a 30-yard head start.
Fuck.
That's how amazing he is. They asked him about that. Remember that? And he hung his head and said, quote, I can't remember that far back.
Oh, no.
So he forgot the only good times he really had, and they're gone.
He erased the best day of his life.
It's fucked up, man. He said, quote, I ain't mad at nobody. I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me. Maybe it's a good thing that I can't remember everything. It keeps me from being depressed. Jesus Christ, man. He said, I can make money again. What I can't get again is my body and my mind. Yeah. That's true. At this point in 2011, he has had 11 arrests since 2002. 11 arrests on drug possession charges. That's not his traffic shit, too. Yeah. He says he has no idea how it went all wrong, and he says that in the 2012 30 for 30 ESPN Broke documentary, where he said he's lost more than $17 million through a variety of bad investments. Yeah. He only got paid 9, so I don't know where he lost 17.
How do you make 9 more? I
don't know where he got the rest of the 8, but it's there.
It's a lot.
He says he draws an $1,100 disability check every month from the NFL. Oh, $1,100.
Thanks, guys.
Gee, thanks. That's his only regular income at that point in 2012. And he said he's petitioned the league for an increase based on his physical condition, and his pension didn't kick in till 55. Which is,
another 12 years away.
Yeah, when is it now? 68 he's born. So,
he's still got 4 more years.
He's still got some years here. March 14th, 2013, he's arrested for having no registration or no insurance. Right. October 1st, 2013, he has a red light camera violation.
Those goddamn cameras.
Ran a light or something. October 4th, 2013, 3 days later, arrested for no registration, no insurance, and unlawful speed. Stop driving. You don't.
Why would he? But does he have to?
I mean, I don't know what he's doing here. October 8th.
Yeah.
4 days later. Jimmy, this is a week.
Right.
This is 3 times in a week. Unlawful use of a temp tag, no tail light, and no license. Jesus Christ, man.
Oh, my God.
November 28th, 2013, arrested again. So in a month and a half, he's having a bad time. He's also arrested for resisting arrest without violence, possession of a controlled substance again. So he's back into that again, which he wasn't for a while there. Because all those times getting pulled over,
nothing.
No crack on him.
You know why? Because he doesn't have a drug problem. Now he has a drug problem again.
Now he's back with controlled substance here. April 8th, 2014, he's arrested for driving with a suspended license. July 7th, 2014, he's arrested for having no tags and no license on his car.
How bad do you have to drive to get police attention like that?
Dude, how many times? You are a fucking awful driver.
I'm a monster.
You're driving all over, you're not looking. How often have you been pulled over?
Well,
quite a bit, because I've been pulled over twice with you.
I have police involvement, maybe 6 times in my life. No. All right. Listen.
Okay.
Maybe twice a year.
I might be a little...
But I'm the worst. I don't know anybody that drives worse
You're
than
the
me.
whitest driver ever. You have no fear of anything.
Yeah.
I still have this fear. When I was a teenager, where I grew up, basically, and you've heard about it on Small Town Murder, and this might be rightfully so, because I told you what my teenage years were like. Yeah. And basically... if me or anybody else of my friends, if we ever got pulled over, there was a 1,000% chance we were getting pulled out of the car and they were going searching us like a motherfucker, ripping the whole car apart because they knew we had fucking drugs on us or something that we weren't supposed to have.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't remember. As kids, got pulled over all the time. I remember one time not getting searched, literally one time, and it was on the night of high school graduation.
Hilarious.
None of us in the car had graduated, mind you, but the guy said, "You guys graduate tonight?" And we all went, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, it's a graduation present. Then get the fuck out of here." Every other time, it was get the fuck out of the car, hands on the fucking thing, fucking with us, So I'm very much not wanting to get pulled over.
I was in a park after dark, and the cops came by to check on us, and then they said that somebody was following their car with out-of-state plates because my brother had Arkansas plates on the car, but they were on the back. And I was like, how could somebody see that there was out-of-state plates if we were following them? And then he was like, and then he just kind of looked at us funny, and then he goes, "Just get out of the park." And I was like, "All right, fine." We got back in the car, and then my brother pulled his bong out of the console and took a rip off the bong and put it back in the. We never bothered us.
That's ballsy.
But we're in a park after dark. Like that's not even. You're not even supposed to be. Shouldn't even
that's
be there.
Ballsy shit, man.
And we've been called the cops on.
Wow. Yeah.
And
no,
they
that's
still didn't
crazy.
search us.
That's nuts. Oh my god, what the fuck, dude?
They
used to just fucking every fucking single time they do it, man. And they would fucking take such fucking joy in it.
Yeah.
I told you they would go shouting shit at us. We were trying to push a car in the snow. They just followed behind us, making fun of us in a loudspeaker, calling us fucking racial slurs at each one of us. We're all different races.
James, when I got arrested for shoplifting, they didn't search me.
What? Jimmie, what the fuck, man?
They arrested me and told me I was under arrest for shoplifting. Did I have anything? And I said no. And then they took me to a room and sat me down and took all this information. They were doing all the documentation. And then they were like, search them again. And then they searched my pockets. And then they found all this stuff.
What the fuck, man? That is insanity. I'm sorry, but you should have been.
Do you have anything in your pockets that belongs to them? And I was like, no. And they were like, okay.
Okay, great.
We trust you.
Fuck. So July 7, 2014, no tags, no license. December 10th, 2014, arrest, possession of drug paraphernalia. Again, February 4th, 2015, less than 2 months later, careless driving and no insurance. And no license either, for that matter. February 13th, 2015, no failure to wear safety belt. Oh, guess what? He doesn't have a license either. It's shocking. Fuck, man. 2016, I couldn't find the story, but he ends up doing 2 days in county jail from a battery count that was against him. So something happened. He hit somebody, and obviously not that hard because he only spent 2 days in jail. January 3rd, 2018, driving with a knowingly revoked license. Which I don't know why all of these weren't that.
It's certainly suspended.
No tags, no registration. Just nothing. Just driving a car with no legal ability to do so whatsoever. June 25th, 2018. He's not good now. No. Let's just say that. He's going to say I'm good now I'm just a sex addict. I'm good now.
All right. I just love pussy.
I just love pussy. God damn it. June 25th, 2018, 4:24 a.m., Jimmie. Good stuff always happens then.
Hell yeah.
He's arrested by the Pinellas County Sheriffs and booked in on possession of crack.
God damn it.
Yes, felony cocaine charge. Held on $2,000 bond and an additional $150 for a second offense of driving with his license suspended or revoked, which is like his 19th offense. This is his 9th local arrest over 4 different counties since 2010.
Unreal.
He says, quote, "Learn from me," is what he told other players in a sporting news article before, but didn't quite happen. I mean, Jesus Christ, man. People are trying to help him, and it's not working because he's got problems that need to be dealt with before the symptoms are dealt with, obviously. He's got a bigger illness than this, and it's a bad thing. And you kind of have to feel bad for him. You really do.
I mean, he was assaulted, and that's what started this whole spiral.
Yeah, I do. I feel bad for him. I mean, not nearly as bad as I feel for Keith McCants, Senior Associate Director at Trinity College in Hartford, Hartford in Woodbridge, Connecticut. Keith McCants, who looks like he's a black dude who's driving a tractor and smoking a joint in his LinkedIn picture, which might be my favorite fucking thing I've ever seen. Oh, that's a boat.
Is it a boat?
That's water in the background. He's driving a fucking cool boat smoking a joint. I like this guy.
Hire him for whatever he wants.
And his occupation, love life. That's all he says. Atlanta metropolitan area. That's the coolest Keith McCants in the country. Keith McCants, manager at Bed Bath & Beyond in Jacksonville, Florida, though. So that's bad on many, because it's Jacksonville and because that's where Keith is, Florida. Keith McCants, engineer at Sheraton Norfolk in Virginia, there, so
engineer
at a hotel.
At the hotel?
Yeah, he fixes shit, maintenance guy at the hotel. And finally, and this is a bad one here for this guy, Keith McCants, Houston County Commission candidate for Post 5. He's running for office in Texas. So, and when you Google Keith McCants,
oh God,
third page, baby.
No way you get front page for that.
Oh, we smoked crack?
Yeah.
Oh no, this is gonna. I'm not voting for him. Finally, September 13th, 2019, it looks like things are turning around for Keith. He begins co-hosting a show called Hear It Now with Barry Edwards on every Friday on 8:20 a.m. in Tampa.
Okay.
So he got a gig.
Radio, yeah.
It's his first full-time gig at all. He interviewed Cornelius Bennett, at this point Robert Jones, George Teague, Willie Anderson, who's his cousin, so that's not a hard get, and Kato Kalin.
One of these things is not like the other.
I would love to hear him interview Kato Kalin.
Yeah. What do you do, man?
You fucked your life up. Shit. Well, actually, Kato Kalin's probably the best thing that ever happened to him. We still know his name.
Right.
Otherwise,
all he did was sleep over.
Yeah. Otherwise, he'd just be a guy that has 8 shitty credits on IMDb for his B movies before that. April 2020, he lives in an apartment in St. Petersburg. Mm-hmm. He's supporting himself with his NFL disability money. He says that he's not well at all physically. He needs a hip replacement very badly.
God damn it.
He's limping around. He's walked with the aid of a cane. He said, it's a struggle every day. I've had 33 surgeries.
He's had more now.
That's a lot. He said, I'm extremely lucky to be alive. Extremely. The only thing I want to do now is take all of my experiences, good and bad, and spread my story. Make sure the next man doesn't have the same problems and go through the same things I went through. I want people to go down a better direction than I had to go down. All that doesn't kill you, makes you stronger.
So the NFL has him talk to rookies, right?
I would fucking hope so. This is the guy that they should be talking to first.
Everybody else. That's your guy.
Not even talking to. They should have to hang out with him for 5 days.
He'll live his life.
No, he has to come live. You got to go live at his house and help him get to the bathroom with his cane and shit. Go, fuck, man, this sucks.
Get arrested with him and everything.
Yeah, get pulled. Let him drive always. Don't worry, you'll get pulled over. He says that this is another guy here who's trying to help him. He said at this stage, this is Bill Curry, who was a coach at Alabama for him. He says, at this stage of my life, the best thing that could happen to me is to hear from my old players. That happens every day. But the worst thing for me is one of my guys to have a hard time, and I'm really sorry to hear about how things have gone for Keith. Yeah. That's depressing. Yeah. So March 2021.
Just now.
Is he good now?
Yeah.
This was last month. He said his life has taken a positive turn. He's become close friends with a guy named Robert Blackman, he's a real estate agent in South Florida and a real estate developer who is also a St. Petersburg city councilman. This guy here, Robert Blackman, helped McCants put together and market his autobiography, which is what we talked about here, which we quoted from, and you should get it. It's very interesting, actually. If you want to read a tale of a player just letting it all out and saying what happened to him in the dark side of the NFL, like he says, it's a good fucking book for that. I would suggest getting it.
And if you want to take a chance at maybe supporting a crack habit, buy this book.
Yeah, I mean, help him out.
Who knows?
It's on Kindle. I don't know. It was $4 or something.
I hope that dude doesn't take a cut of it.
I think he's trying to help him, though.
He better be.
Yeah, because he said that Blackman's friend Barry Edwards devoted 1 hour each week of his political talk show on Tampa's 8:20 a.m. to feature McCants, too, as well. McCants said, quote, it's going pretty well. He's also had Herschel Walker and Emmitt Smith, so he's starting to get some bigger names. It feels good talking to these guys, seeing how they view me, how I viewed them, getting a chance to open up. It's been real nice. The Blackman said, that guy, he said the whole thing came about. In 2010, I was home from college and was reading the newspaper and saw McCants was arrested for the 14th or 15th time for crack possession, crack cocaine possession, and his mugshot looked so incredibly sad. And we'll post one of his sad mugshots. And he said he was only 21 at the time, but he wanted to help the guy anyway. So I reached out to him and said, hey, I understand where you're coming from. I know life can be tough. Is there any way we can save your life? He said he immediately called back and said, I think this is a godsend. I feel I have no options. I don't know where to turn to or what to do. So this guy, Blackman, said, quickly, I understood that I had no expertise in dealing with such things, but I tried to just help him out with whatever he wanted. So he says all McCants wanted was a friend. And he said he's known him for 10 years, and he's helped McCants overcome his addiction. And he says, after walking with a cane for 20 years, he said the NFL declined to help pay for his hip surgery.
That's unbelievable.
Dude, okay. We bitch about Vince McMahon all the time, about, he leaves these people in the fucking lurch and all this type of shit. But I fucking dare to say that the goddamn WWE's aftercare program is better than the NFL's. I'm fucking based on this. It has to be. They sent Sonny to rehab 14 fucking times. They won't do shit for this guy.
Not even his hip, his knees, anything.
Dude, if you're a first round draft pick, I feel like fuck that. They should have to. That's ridiculous, man. So
make sure that he get him away from the fucking pain. The pain is what's ruining his life,
causing everything.
Right.
So Blackman says he's paying the thousands in copay out of his own pocket because he wants to help him. So he's helping him with that. He said anybody can change a life. And he says that McCants says after the surgery, he hopes he'll be able to walk on the beach without a cane and he can inspire others. He said, quote, I would say live life one day at a time, take it in stride. I know it's probably your dream to play in the National Football League. Out of 600,000 college football players, I was ranked number 1 in the world. What are you willing to do to get to the NFL? And what are you willing to do to stay in the NFL? That's the question I want each and every individual to ask themselves, because myself, I became addicted to painkillers. I was pushed out, left for dead. I became an addict. I'm 4 or 5 years clean now. Not really, because you got arrested in 2018 with crack. Doing extremely well, but he's got dementia, so that's fine. Count. He might have thought it was longer ago, but it was a battle. I'm not the only one. When you get a pill bottle in your locker and take 4, 5, 6 Lortabs, Percocets, morphine shots after games just to go out there and play in the game that you love, and not knowing you're becoming addicted to the medication, that was probably the biggest regret I've had.
There he goes again.
Biggest regret I've had is that, and switching positions. Yeah, and
that's how he ends everything that sucks. That's the biggest regret I've had.
He says he's partially paralyzed. I can barely walk right now. Yeah. There's an everyday battle for me, physically and mentally. I've been through it. The best years of my life were in college. Yeah. That's fucking sad to say right there. That's the biggest regret I have. Make the right choices. Keep your circle tight, close with God-fearing people in your life, because when you're going to a level like that, you've got people coming at you at all angles. One of my best friends now, Robert Blackman, he helped me out a lot. We became real good friends. He helped me get this gig, helped me get back on a lot of television shows and stuff like that, and just wanted to see me come back. Out of the biggest downfalls I had in my life, I'm one of the few athletes to climb my way back to the top. I'm almost there. It's just an everyday battle, brother. I'm pushing for the College Hall of Fame, though.
That's the biggest regret I have.
That's the biggest regret I have, is not making the College Hall of Fame, which he actually has got a shot at.
He should.
That would be normal if he got that. Can't get enough of Keith McCants?
No.
Well, just drive in Tampa, and you'll see him get pulled over at some point, and you can say hi to him. But you can follow him on Twitter. He is at Keith McCants on Twitter, and he has 854 followers.
What?
That is not a lot. So follow Keith McCants, I guess. Give him a follow, for fuck's sake. He's trying hard. He looks great in his picture on Twitter here. He's got, first of all, you're rocking the same mics we have.
He sure in the fuck is.
Same fucking deal, so it's a good radio station. But he's looking good there, right? That's a younger picture, I feel like,
it's
over
not
here.
Recent.
That's like Tampa orange.
That's 4 or 5 years ago.
But the one of him at the studio, he looks real good, and good for Keith, and we hope... we root for Keith. We want Keith to do well.
Perhaps his measurement of time was thrown off by COVID.
That's possibly it too. But you know what?
Yeah.
Honestly,
It's possible.
We go, how long ago was that shit?
Yeah.
So, and we don't even smoke crack.
Right.
Or get pulled over every day. So that's how that
But
works.
that is the biggest regret I have.
That is the biggest regret I have. The biggest regret I have.
I can't believe he has so many.
All of them. The biggest regret you should have is if you have not given us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, because that helps a lot. Please help us out there. Give us 5 stars. Helps drive you up the charts. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com right now.
Why?
For everything crime and sports and small town murder, but especially to get those virtual live show tickets. March the 6th, or May the 6th, not March.
Right.
May the 6th. It's a Thursday, and it'll be available for 72 hours after that, so you can do a Friday night, Saturday night.
If you miss this, it's going to be the biggest regret.
It probably will be. I'm just saying that right now. And you know what? If it's not a great show, it's going to be the biggest regret of my life. So I guarantee you it's going to be a great show, goddammit. If we have to get arrested panhandling with prostitutes on camera to make it a great show, we will, goddammit, because that's how committed we are.
And that wouldn't even be the biggest regret of my life.
No, it really wouldn't.
It'd be
honestly.
worth it.
It'd be well worth it to get everybody there. So please do that. Shutupandgivememurder.com.
Yeah.
And this is going to be the only crime and sports virtual show we ever do.
Right.
So fucking sign up if you want
Let's
it. Do that, please. Also,
don't make it the biggest regret of my life.
No, this whole show could be the biggest regret of my life. Why? Because they wanted us to do Small Town Murder, where we know we'd sell a shitload of tickets, and we said no. The crime and sports people said, "Why can't you do crime and sports? Stop doing so much Small Town Murder. They're asking for it. They've been so loyal. Let's do this." And then they're like, "Yeah, they don't buy tickets at the same rate as Small Town Murder." So do that, and also get on there, and you can get all sorts of merchandise on shutupandgivememurder.com.
Mm-hmm.
And in addition to that, you can find tickets to live shows, crime and sports, and Small Town Murder. We will definitely do a crime and sports at the Tempe Improv on November the 19th.
Right.
And we have a Small Town Murder the same night. So come to both shows, hang out. And I think we have a crime and sports in Nashville that we haven't set the date for, and it's been sold out for 2 years anyway.
We got to figure that out soon.
Yeah, we'll set the date. It's on like a Tuesday night, so we can pretty much just waltz in there whenever we kind of want to at
Probably
that point.
fly out there next Tuesday.
Yeah, I think next Tuesday. If we don't, Jimmy, if we don't make that show,
It'd be the biggest regret of my life.
that's all there is to it. So we have to do it. I don't want Jimmy to regret it for the rest of his life. So get on there, do all that. Follow us on social media at Crime and Sports on Twitter and Facebook, at Small Town Murder on Instagram. And in addition to that, get on Patreon. If you're missing out, if you're not a Patreon subscriber,
it's working.
It's working. It's so great. The episodes are so fun. Last week we did, and you can get all of this, every
and all
one
of them.
every one of the back ones. We did sports movies that we both love and hate, and talked a lot of shit about movies. And then we did an episode about reviews of jails and prisons around the country.
Fascinating.
And we did all different regions and LA County Jail to everything. It's very interesting and funny as shit. So check that out. That is patreon.com/crime-and-sports. And in addition to that, Jimmy is going to mispronounce your name.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to mispronounce it terribly, trying his hardest to get it right. So that's a lot of fun. You do all that shit, line it all up, come see us, patreon.com/crime-and-sports. Be a producer. And if you just want to have good karma and hear your name mispronounced at the end of the show and know that you're a producer, you can also get on PayPal using our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com.
Yes.
And you can do that and make a donation. And God damn it, do we appreciate every fucking cent of that. We appreciate it so much that I think it's time for you to tell me a list of all these people who've been so wonderful to us this week, Jimmy. I need it right now. If you don't give it to me, it's going to be the biggest regret of my life to not hear it. So hit me with it right now.
This week's executive producers are Hoot Mama.
Hey.
I don't know. She bought a new house with a better T-bowl to B-hole ratio.
Fuck
so
yeah.
She's jacked.
Work
Good
those
for you.
B-holes on them T-bills.
Jessica Christensen, of course, Jordan Bennett, Rishbir Jeet Kaur Singh Tarico. That's somebody. That's a person.
Oh, wow. That's a name. It's quite the handle.
Chrissy Ann Castaldi, of course.
Thank
Jennifer
you.
Baird, Jake and Kim Moore, Caitlin Fox, and Kelsey Dexter. Thank you guys so much.
you.
Truly, you're fucking You're everything.
Amazing.
Other producers this week are Monica's friend Dustin, and he lost his pup Spike. So I'm terribly sorry, Dustin. Hang in there, bud. It gets worse. Cheyenne Wright had a birthday. Happy birthday. Peyton Meadows, Carl Kirshner, James Martyr, Liz Vasquez. Thanks, Liz, for being around for so fucking long and sending birthday gifts. And you're amazing. Thanks, Liz.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
it. Samantha Tooley, Julianne Beth Pinkerton, custom color by Mo, Charlene Yin, Nels and Harriet Olson, Rabbi Shmulovich, Bad Billy Pratt.
All right, there we go. Some overboard happening there.
I read it and had to stop because I was giggling so hard. Erica Geisler, Steve Schnell, of course. Steve sent he sent us some chocolate cakes.
Oh,
the ring dings.
Oh, yeah, I ate those ring dings.
Thank you so much.
My daughter. Thank you.
You're the best, Steve. Yeah. Melody and Holly Hoffman, Lisa Coltrane, and Lisa is fucking. She goes to bat for us. So thank you, Lisa, for everything.
Thank you, everybody.
Truly. Jennifer Visconti, David Beers, Christine Leischel, Ashley and Corey Baraclof, Jennifer Stevens, Carissa Blanche, DJ Jellyfish. That's Daniel Solis, but I love DJ Jellyfish. That's a great name. Good work, bud. Yeah. Daniel Solis, I said that. Emmy Dumont, happy birthday. Monica Hernandez, Janice Hill, Carly Hetherington, Kimberly Henley, Vanya Vinter, Amanda Burke, Jen Peak, Allison Morris, Bill McClellan, Candace Roop, Ashley Vio, Amy Conley was 3 weeks in the hospital, and the audience helped her get through it. So,
hope you're recovering.
Because this audience is fucking amazing. Amy, hang in there. Jude Kendall, John Lawson, Siren Head, yes, Christopher Kreitz, Belinda Gray, Heather Carroll, Danielle Sherb, Allie Henley, Palmer Owens, Tracy Valencourt, Aaron Murray, Meredith Graves, Eduardo Santana, Andrea Quarengi, Sylvia Concha said that. Brian Gilbert, Justin with no last name, Shelby Rose, Marcy Bush, Colleen Lambert, Jerry Lee, Jameson, Quinn Riley, Monica, Koluzny, Kennedy, that one took me for a ride, Kennedy Barozzi, Kayla Ann, Heather Adley, Brandy Mendoza, Carrie Wilhelm, Chase Scott, Jamie Levesque, Art the Maritime Negro. What? I guess Art Sales. It's the funniest fucking thing. Josh Nichols, Sierra Marks.
You better be black too, Art. Let me tell you something. If you're a white guy who put that down, that's not cool.
Alicia Raymond Austin, Lisa Rucky, Steph Kissoon, Sean Smith, Valerie Little, Ruben Franco, Lori Pierce, Danella Barker, Kurt Eckert, Marcy Goodfellow, Todd Cooper, Samantha Warren, Alan Cable, Susan Boder, Candace Bruce, Valerie Church, Amber Miller, Dan with no last name, Dylan Betts, Jason Blue, Natalie Reeds, Ann Duchess, Fern Berry, Jamie Boyd, Annabelle Lexian, Will Mazingo, Jenna Benjamin, Mike Abler, Derek with no last name, John Maynard, Carla Hansen, Kristen Campbell, Kai with no last name, Cassie Harlow, Luis Maldonado, Lauren Magner, and Neil McEachern. Savannah Fox, Kelly Seltman, what did I do? No, Otto Miso, Kelly Seltman, Kenny Fisher, Abby Lee, Mike Elias, Marcel Destine. I was doing so great. Jeff Irvine, Anna Elker, Lori Rustovan, Jaden Cooper, Tara Camilli, Alma Monarez, Jesus, Alex Capel, damn it, Kate Dunlay, Rhonda Shuh, Vanessa Britacia? What? Dope Hippie Turnbull, Glenn Hamilton, Lucy Fry, Kylie Stad, Jesse Bones, Sam Hatch, Audrey Wise, Joe Vanden Enden, Ty Huffman, Lucas Guy, Kim Martini, Steven with no last name, Rachel Gustafson, Ben Hudnall, Emily Perea, Ashley Culpepper, Elena Jennings, Darla Bagan, John, Cornea, Haley Sparks, Jennifer Jacopek, Michael West, Casey Doer, Caitlin Smith, Cindy Torvik, John McRoberts, Bill Jenkins, Memphis Roscoe, Zach Perez, Jesse Medler, Stella with no last name, Camilla Jones, Tiffany Cook, Alfonso Tyler, Caleb Reeves, Michelle Siebert, Turd Ferguson,
of course,
Chloe Kraft, Shabor, Jason O-Ring, Hannah W., Michael Kuling, Marshall Rurda, Sherry MacArthur, Derek Baker, Joseph Bondi, Anna would know last name, Joe DeGroat, Mitch Collard, Willie J., Brad Gledhill, Constance Johnson, Christy May, Thomas Evans, Tony Peacock, Rory Daly, Lindsay Schaefer, Caroline would know last name, Alex and Orchard, Mark Sargent.
I'm going to start just giving people last names that have no last name. I'm just going to assign one when you say it. I'm just going to shout Robinson. Shout it out.
Tim Zalesi, Kelly Gaspard, Shays 6, Jennifer Bartz, Kayla Dunstan, Scott Sawatsky, Sean Duggan, Dakota Smith, Ashley Hernandez, Devin Franklin, Jerica Kunkel, Lindsay Kane, Keaton O'Neill, Marquise. Nope, that's Karen.
Whoa, that's way different.
Megan Dalquist, Courtney Lowe, Jacob Feipel, Amanda Weckerly, Kenny Heislip, James Stockham, Nicole. Oh, boy. Crewanui Nick.
Yeah, it's probably close.
Lolo Brinkham, McGillicuddy, Jaron Schmaltz, Amanda Dunn, and Austin Gilman.
Hey.
Emily Young, Ray Thomas, David, with whose last name?
Rubenstein.
There it is. Andrew Miso, Derek Baker, Tyler Blevins, Simon Baylor, Madison Barton, Jesus, Demetrius Brooks, Sydney Baskind, James Bardsley, Holiday Jeremiason. No, it's not right. Nico Usuzin.
Yeah.
Ryan Bardwell, Sean Phillips, Rachel Melise, Beth Bryant, that's Ben Wilson, Diane Quagg, Jose Sanchez, Kira, and her last name is
Baracus.
Clark Smith, Kelly Clinker, Hannah Schreier, Jeremy Fries, Jason Williams, Donna Salmon, Emily Graper, Kirsten Chase, Cassidy with the last name of
Fox,
Rose Stoslizovich, Tom has a sweet last name,
Carlin,
Dalton Brown, Allison Carrier, Chase Wojcik, John McManus, Joe Buchanan, Joanna Nugent, Anthony Renaro, and Angela Pace. And all of our patrons, you guys are terrific. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Honestly, we just can't do the show without you.
You're tremendous.
And
you're gorgeous.
You are, all of you.
You're so pretty.
Even the ugly ones are gorgeous. We don't care. You're just wonderful fucking people.
Look at that ass.
It's great, even with a cane. So do that and hang out with us. Jimmie, what if they wanted to talk to you? How could they talk to you?
You can find me and tell me about James's great ass on the internet at Whisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks.
Absolutely.
Twitter and Instagram. Where can they tell you about your fantastic
you can tell me. And you're going to regret it for the rest of your life if you don't. If you don't follow me at Jimmie P is funny and follow Jimmie as well here at Jimmie P is funny. You can just Google us. You know where the fuck, you know how to find people on the goddamn internet. So do that. Keep coming back. Get those tickets to the virtual live show. And I think it's about time.
Well, can we go?
Oh, boy. Let's get out of here. And live from the Crime and Sports Studios, we will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like Crime and Sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer.
I can really show you how to make some money.
And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.